State Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco and William Cooper.
And ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Spare Notes series. It's Saturday night. We are live in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. I am wearing my Drew Estate swag. I'm not smoking a Drew Estate cigar, but I am smoking something special. Joining me from the soon-to-be Gurkha Cigar Studios in beautiful British Columbia, our neighbors to the north, Mitchell Santaga joins us, and the one and only, the legend from Indian Trail, North Carolina, on the black stage. A significant black stage today. And again, we'll explain why in a second. It's the man, the myth, the legend, William Cooper. The three of us are here once again for the Spare Notes series. And I get very excited for this show because this is like the show where I get to hang out with my friends and we get to talk shop, and it's great, and everyone really engages, and so I get really excited for this show. Not that the other show's not good. I like the other show too, but this is definitely more of the show where we can fuck around a little more. So I get excited.
The gloves are off. The gloves are off.
Look at Coop's grin. That's Coop's like, I got some shit to say tonight.
Right.
Is that a Florida Kanya hat? Dude, good for you.
Yes, it is.
Good for you. That's a nice hat. Good rum too.
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, I got a
love me
nice
some
free
Florida
bottle
Cognac.
of rum from there I took back home.
I gotta say, I would really been hitting the rum game this year, or this past year, 2022. I was never really like, I would drink rum if I was at a place like a bar or whatever, and they had a cocktail that was like a Mai Tai or or a mojito, whatever with rum, and I would drink it and enjoy it. But like, I wasn't like into rum or sipping rums. And I slowly started getting into it a little bit more. Then I went to the DR, and then of course, like when you're in the DR, I mean that's what you drink down there. So I started really paying attention to it. So I'm at a point now where I've got some rums that are some of my favorites. And again, I'm still going through my rum phase. But right now it's like Brugalienda, the Zacapa 23.
Oh yeah.
The Bumbu, which is a rum from Barbados. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, but I enjoy it. I actually haven't dabbled too far into Cuban rums, but I do have some that I have recently acquired. So I will be.
We get them
dabbling
here.
more.
Some of them are decent.
Well, of course you do.
Some of
This
them
is
are
Canada.
Santiago. I love that Santiago is the one.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I have a couple bottles of Havana Club that I've recently acquired. The
Solid,
Seven
yep, very
Años.
good.
The Seven Años is decent, but I haven't really expanded much other than that. Haven't really got into white rums a lot, but that's just kind of my thing. Anyway, I went on a tangent there. I'm sorry, boys. Welcome to the show. Good to see you guys. My mind's just all over the place today. I don't know why. I just got thrown off my game.
It's a busy day.
It was crazy. It's just there's so much going on. Anyway, how are you guys doing? What do you guys got? What's hot?
Well, doing good.
I love how they get quiet. They're like, oh, I don't know what to say. And it's like, well, this is what we're fucking here for.
No, doing good. I just got off work, so it's good to light up right after work. Nice relaxing cigar.
I hear that.
Might
Oh,
as well get into what we're smoking.
oh, well, actually, yeah. So this kind of goes along with Coop too, because Coop's on the Black Perdomo stage in Indian Trail.
Yep.
I'll start us off today. For those who don't know, is Nick Perdomo's birthday. So a very special birthday to happy birthday to Nick
Happy
Perdomo.
birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday. The man with swag, I mean, dude, he's dynamite. He's always walking around all dressed up. He's got a nice suit on. Dude, you can say what you want about Perdomo. They make great cigars. If you don't like Perdomo cigars, fine. But you can't deny. I mean, Nick Perdomo's got swag, dude. I mean, he is a cool dude. So happy birthday to him. Nick's a flexer. So I thought I'd flex with a Perdomo Immenso, 6x70 sun-grown. Coop, you're on the Perdomo stage. I'll let you go next. What are you
Yep.
smoking?
So I'm smoking the La Flor Dominicana TAA cigar from 2019, the Segundo edition.
Okay. Yep.
With the Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
Not Connecticut broadleaf.
That I recently learned about that this was a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, John. So,
And Mitchell, what do you got smoking over there?
We're going big ring gauge, so I went with the
All-time favorite for you.
All Saints Habano Dedicacion, huge 6x60. This is smoking really well already. It's huge.
We already
Huge.
have a comment from Jay Davis, who I want to shout out to Jay. We love Jay. Jay Davis says Coop looks hungover.
I'm tired today. I am tired today. This is the first time I've done a 3-podcast day in about 2 months. So, I did KMA and I recorded Jukebox. So, I did take a little break around the holidays and then I had some travel. But I am tired. I won't lie to you, but I'm fired up. So don't worry about that. I'm more to be recovered.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just get some Florida Kanye in them.
Yeah.
I don't have Diet Coke. I have Diet Pepsi tonight. So I'm like,
I am a little burnt out from last night. Last night I drank rum, and I drank a lot of rum. So
yes, you were. Yeah.
yeah. Coop.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
you were.
Got a few text messages last night from Matt.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I was bitching about something. Then I woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? It doesn't really bother me anymore.
Then I bitched about it.
And then he was
so-
like, no, I'm pissed about it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. That's how it goes. But as always, we are cutting and lighting our cigars with Cigar Blondie accessories. I've already cut and lit my cigar because I wanted to get this bad boy going before the show. But Cigar Blondie cutter and lighter. This actually, I didn't realize until I lit this up that I'm just trying to tighten this up a little bit. I got some flakes. I didn't realize just how big. I think this is a 60 ring cutter. I mean, a 70 ring cutter. I mean, this is. I don't know why I didn't visually. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But then I went to cut this and I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is actually a big cutter. So it's a good size, very sturdy though. It's sharp and sturdy. One thing I love about this cutter, Coop. I know we've talked about this a lot. It's not flimsy. You know what I mean?
Not flimsy. It's really, even like me, I kind of complain about I'm slightly arthritic.
Yeah.
It works great with this. I could just get a nice clean cut on it every time. And then the fan flame lighter, which is just gives you that power of a jet torch and the softness of a soft flame. I mean, it's a great lighter.
It's like a hybrid flame.
It is. It's a jet flame that acts like a soft flame. And it's just great for toasting a cigar. Can I audible?
Yeah. Do your thing.
So I want to address something that was on when Carney was on the show with you last week.
Okay.
TAA cigars do not belong on an end of year list.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm going to tell you why. Is it okay? I won't.
No, it is okay, but it's just if you're gonna bust my balls, I'm gonna bust them back. So
no. And Matt, hear me out. Okay, hear me out. I'm not busting on you for putting it on there, but John seemed to be upset that a lot of people weren't including it on lists.
Okay.
Okay, so this is not me picking on, because you have your own criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, and I have a very strong feeling on this, is when you have an organization that is a private organization that basically it's not open to everybody to join, even if they meet all the criteria. They can basically be vetoed by another member.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put a cigar on a list that is like that. You know what I mean? So if someone can't get into the TAA, they can't carry that cigar. And that's just too limiting in my book on it. So I wanted an explanation why I don't include TAA cigars on the list. Doesn't mean I don't think, and LFD does a good job on it. So it kind of hurts them probably more than some of the other TAA cigars. But I do feel strongly on that. The way that organization's set up, it's they exclude people. I know some very, very key retailers who would be a great asset to that organization who have been denied entry. So for no other reason than fear of competition.
That's a fair point, honestly. Especially with your list not having already, you don't include store specific releases, right? So pretty much a TAA is a store specific release. That's just,
it's a limited to a small amount of stores, right? I do include PCA cigars, right? And I've been because PCA's it's look, you could go to the PCA show and get it. There's really nothing that's going to stop you from going to the joining the PCA. That's an open organization for the most part. I mean, as long as unless you get kicked out. But you can go and you can get that cigar. So, but that's the reason I felt strong enough that those cigars I don't feel should be. I don't think they're on the level playing field with some of the other cigars is the problem. So, from a distribution standpoint.
That's fair.
I see your point. I'll give it to you. For me, it's. I know we talked a lot about shop exclusives and single store releases and stuff and the micro blends that Abe would do, like stuff like that would not be eligible, and I get that. And to us when we talked about it, we felt that there was enough of a spread of availability of those TAA cigars where it's not like, well, you had to get it from like the Drew Estate UF4, great cigar, nothing wrong with that cigar, but it's like that cigar is only available from Casa de Monte Cristo
for 1 day a year. I mean, they sell out in 1 day.
So that, for example, I would never put that on the list because it's too hard to get, right? But I felt that, and as Mitchell did as well, and Nicole, we felt there was enough availability of those TAAs where enough people could get their hands on them. To be honest with you, there was only 2 TAA cigars from last year that I actually liked at all. One was
they
that
were
LFD.
Terrible last year for the most part. Yeah.
One was that LFD. The other was actually the Diesel Atonement. I thought that was pretty good. All the other ones were.
I thought the Gurkha was good.
You know what? I didn't have the Gurkha.
Right.
I didn't have the Gurkha.
That was a good cigar. They did a nice job on. In my opinion, they checked every box of what a TAA cigar should be with that cigar. They did a nice job with that cigar. I'm not saying it was the greatest cigar, but it was a satisfying cigar. It was packaged nicely. You should never put a TAA cigar in bundles. I'm sorry, Michael. I
agree.
Deserves a box. Deserves a box. If you're sending it to the best retailers, if you can't get a box, then don't do a TAA cigar. That's my opinion.
Yeah, deserves a box.
By the way, and that's nothing against the TAA cigar that Ferrio did, which I thought that was a good cigar too. But there were a lot of guns last year.
Talking lists about landed on Filling Me Palace list, right?
Yes.
The Ferriotego, was it number 16 or something like that landed on?
It landed on the development Paladin.
No, that was the timeless.
Now, Aaron takes a very different approach. He'll put shop exclusives and things like that on his list.
Yep.
So, but again, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to criticize someone who puts it on there. I'm not going to criticize you. I think there's another side of the coin I look at that with that.
Yeah, it's more of they got to understand why it's not on a lot of lists.
Technically, I also don't, technically I don't include single country releases, so there's no TA. You can't get those cigars outside the U.S. It's very hard to get them, I should say. So, that there's a lot of reasons why I exclude them, and I just think there's another side of the coin to look at that.
Jay Davis actually commented on here: Cuban cigars, TAA cigars, PCA cigars, limited edition cigars, and butt-freckled one-off cigars belong on a list, in my opinion, if they are good. There are a lot of cigars I cannot carry, thanks TAA, but if the cigar is released that year and is good, it belongs on a list. Sorry to disagree, Coop.
No, it's okay, and that's I think there's other points of it's other point. I mean at the same time there's a cigar that's I see a couple it's funny, you could see some companies out there, right, that they have a perception that they're national brands, and I know they sell to 1 or 2 stores in the country, right? I know this for a fact, right? But they have like the old 262 brand is a good example of that, right? It's like that's not so in my opinion, if you're only selling to 1 or 2 stores, I'm not going to include you on the list. The single store releases, what I've noticed is it's a very, and I've talked about, it's a very complicated market to cover, and I would really just choose, if I had my choice, I just wouldn't cover it at all. But it's hard because I do have some relationships in the industry with retailers and manufacturers, but it's not a space I pay a lot of attention to, so I'm not giving all those cigars a fair shot, which is why I don't include them.
Can I just take a quick detour? We're going to come right back, but I just want to point out that Skip says, I picked up another box of Andalusian Bull for $130, my best find of the year so far. Fucking right, dude. That's a great price for that.
How did you get those for $130? Was that a box or a 5-pack? I mean, No, it had
No,
a
he said
box.
box. The box of
Yeah,
10.
you're right.
130. That's pretty good. That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
good.
I
Finding a
did-
box, first of all, is
Finding a
You
box.
know?
Finding a box that's, MSRP I believe is 150, which I see about 50% of the time. A lot of the times it's
Yeah.
like over 200. But for 130, dude, good for you. That's a great find.
Guess what I scored today?
What'd you score?
Box of 55s.
Wow. You must know somebody.
I got
Yeah.
'em from Hustler. I got 'em from Hustler,
Oh, really? Oh,
and
good
they're
for you.
sold out
Ooh.
now. Yep.
number one.
You gotta snooze. You gotta snooze. You snooze, you lose. I mean,
You-
it's funny because
you were
I
up-
went and
Snooze,
bought the
you
box. There was
lose.
no more left. I was gonna try to buy another box, and there's no more left. So.
You were up checking those emails.
Yes. Yeah. Dave Burke. Dave Burke is with he's beside himself.
Yeah, where's talking about Hustler? Where's BDP at? He said he was going to be here tonight.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I guess he's just salivating from some of the high ratings he got on the end of your list, right? He was all upset developing palates didn't review the cigar.
We're waiting till next episode to do end of the year stuff, right?
Yes, we are. Yep.
Okay.
We're doing our show Monday. Actually, finally recapping the list. I think Abe's got one coming up soon too. So yeah, but we are done. It's good because I think we needed to wait for the last list to come out anyway. Because it's interesting. I was talking about this on Dojo Show. Alec Bradley Fine and Rare. I was the first one to put it on a list as far as I know, and after that, it showed up on 3 other lists. So, it kind of validated me. It showed up on Bear's list, it showed up on Aaron's list, and it showed up on Half Wheel's list.
Right.
So those are some significant lists.
Definitely.
Bear was honorable mention, but that's his
It's 'cause-
that's his way of rewarding limiteds. Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't include limiteds, right?
Yeah, and that's a whole that I disagree with. I do think because it's too gray. The line of limited is the problem.
Yeah, is it limited
What
production, limited edition, limited?
Saka will tell you is every cigar is limited production, unless you're like Macanudo, where you're producing them every day. That's really what it comes down to. Is he said everything's pretty much a limited production. So, that's kind of how I do it. And it's hard to tell what's one and done because you don't know if it's one and done.
Definitely.
Sorry, I'm just getting caught up on the comments, and then I had something I was trying to bring up for discussion. Over here, which I have. All right, I'm going to save this for something else later. The first thing I wanted to get into tonight, something happened since our last show. That was interesting. We are gonna talk about it. I mean, I don't think we're gonna. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. One thing that happened was, those of you may or may not have seen a post that was placed on the Facebook and Instagram, definitely Facebook profile of the Boutique Cigar Association. Mitchell actually saw it first, sent it to me, and sent it to Coop, and then the three of us were like, "What's going on here?" And at first glance, I commented and I said, "Look, I'm like, this is not professional." It was this very cheap-looking photo of a girl smoking this monster, like, it almost looks she was smoking like that Asylum 9x90 kind of cigar, and like it looks so unprofessional and out of place and very poorly made, and I'm like, what is this? And I commented and I said, this is very unprofessional. This is the kind of crap that we used to see getting posted on Cigar Rights of America, who we're also going to talk about on the show tonight. And it's just not right. And it's funny, Gabby Caffey responded and was like, this was a mistake, yada 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 yada, and okay, fine, mistakes happen. But I wanted to leave it up because I wanted people to see the mistake, and I'm like, all right, I can see your point, but I'll agree to disagree. I mean, if it was me, I'd want it. First of all, I wouldn't even have posted that. But if someone else posted to our company stuff on my behalf, and I didn't know, and then I found it, I'd be like, get that shit down. Like, no, I wouldn't leave it up. I would be like, let's get it down. And Gabby reached out to me privately, and we talked a little bit about it, whatever. And then after that conversation, someone had commented and said, "Oh, but which one is it?" And he had previously commented and said, like, "Oh, this is great. Like, this is a sexy photo and this and that." So I was like, oh yeah, that's true. This is kind of confusing. And then the post was completely deleted. But they blamed an outside marketing agency, which I can understand, especially if it's someone who's not completely familiar with the cigar industry or some of the issues that have happened with other similar like organizations posting some less than favorable things on their pages. But there it is. I brought it up, and I know you guys saw it too. And again, this is a continuation of things we're seeing from associations and organizations that should be better than this, and it's disappointing to see.
Coop, you're muted.
Coop's muted.
Oh, I had to hit the cough button. Yeah, it's disappointing. So I want to make a few comments on this. And first of all, because I have been critical of the BCA a lot, and I want to give them, I do want to give them some benefit of the doubt here. But at the same time, I just got to question, what are you guys doing here? I thought the BCA got off to a very good start this year in 2023. I saw they cleaned up the webpage. They were starting some concerted effort to do fundraising. They seemed like they're coming through some membership procedures. It was very, very encouraging. And then they go and do that. Now, they're not the first organization to do this. They're not the first company to do this. But I just think, look, first of all, you got to know better. You just got to know better. And
We lose
it's
Mitchell?
telling me that we may have lost Mitchell.
Hold on, I got him. He's calling in. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Coop, keep going.
Yeah, and you got to know better. And look, I know we're in a very we are in a very sensitive time, with saying and doing these types of things right now. You just have to be better than that, and you shouldn't even be blaming the outside marketing agency. You know what you should have just did? We fucked up. We're sorry, and it's not going to happen. Don't go pointing the finger at
Accountability.
Accountability. Just and I mean, I'm sorry, but how dumb is that when you're trying to do a fundraising effort right now? Which, like I said, I was applauding a lot of this stuff they're doing. Like it seemed like they were finally starting to be like a trade organization. Now, again, I understand mistakes happen, but you got to be better than that. You shouldn't be explaining this on just issue an apology, and that's it. You don't need to comment on everything with that. It was in poor taste expecting from a trade organization. And I'm assuming that's what they are right now. They've gone back and forth if they want to be a trade organization or a social, and I think they try to be a hybrid of it. And I think you got to be one or the other, right? And being a trade organization means you can't be buddy with everybody online. You can't be making everybody happy. You have to make decisions, and they're going to be unpopular decisions. So I really hope they learn from this more or less, because I did like the direction they were heading at the beginning of the year, and I do want to see them. I want to see them make it. It will be good to have them at the trade show. Don't get me wrong.
BCA, yeah.
The BCAs, but you look, we were all over the Cigar Rights of America about this. Matt and I, Mitchell, we blasted Cigar Rights of America.
Oh, I was in the comments when that was happening.
Oh yeah, so you saw it too. We blasted them on this, and they're supposedly very tied with the CRA. So how do you not learn from this? And then again, if you're working with a marketing, you've got to do better than that. This is just, you got to fix that. And that's all I can say about this. I'm disappointed in them. I really am.
Yeah, and the ad agency is a smaller, newer ad agency. I think they're newer. That hasn't been around very long. It was Cigar Box Marketing, I believe.
Is that the one? I mean, I don't know if they ever said. I know they work with.
I was told that's who it was.
But they're advisors to the BCA then, so that's a little more alarming that I'm hearing that. But at the same time, I'm not blasting the agency, because again, this type of marketing does work in other areas. Okay, and it's not this is not the first person to do it. But someone probably should have just said. Someone just said we can't put this out there. I mean And I don't know if it went through a board or if someone just went and put it out there without going to the board. I mean, but that stuff has to go. That stuff should all be approved by the board of directors in there.
I agree. I mean, it was, I saw that, and Nicole pointed out. I think it was, I think it was.
The girl was biting the foot of the cigar. It wasn't even like lit. It was backwards. There was like
Yeah.
so many. It was like raunchy. There was like, I don't even remember what the caption was. It was like a ridiculous caption.
I have a
There was-
screenshot of it still. I saved it.
But I'll tell you what. There's so many. Yeah.
It's like, I don't
What
know.
are we doing,
It's
guys? Are we in a locker room here, or are we trying to save the industry here? I mean,
Yeah, it was a cigar is
Exactly.
about enjoyment and savoring the moment. Smoke cool and slow. And she's got the cigar in her mouth backwards, and she's like got an aggressive like look on her face. She's biting into it, making it look like she's being sexual. It's just like, and then it's BCA, and I'm like, that's just so. It's not professional. Like, why are
And
you
look, there's
fucking doing
there's
this?
cigar companies doing that stuff too. I mean, it's wrong that they're doing it too. So to pick on the BCA as being the only one, no, there's cigar companies doing it too, and they should know better as well.
You know, Coop.
That's not the way you get women. Yeah, that's not the way you get women smokers in.
I will agree to an extent. I mean, there's some brands out there where I will say this. I don't think anyone should do it, but if a brand does it and it's a brand that's kind of an out there brand, because there's a lot of those brands. Like, okay, like I get it, but there's no excuse from a trade organization. None whatsoever. I mean, like I said, no one should do it. There's some brands that probably not great, but at least you know what? You're just reflecting your own business at that point. A trade organization, different story. Just shouldn't happen.
This is the part I'm a little more concerned with than what CRA did. CRA was one guy doing the social media. This was contracted out to an agency, and I think you have to set some expectations with that agency right now. I don't think and I think this agency has done some good work for them. That's why I'm I don't think they should be just ripped out either. But I think you got to set some expectations, and there's some good people on that board that should be able to steer that ship right here.
Yeah, I know. It was disappointing to say. When we started last year, it was a little bit under a year ago when we saw some very suggestive things being posted on Cigar Rights of America's pages, and I know a handful of us all were like, "What are we doing here?" We called them out on the air. We talked about it. It was bad.
That's where my money was going. And I'll have something to say about CRA when we get to that too, because I have something today on that. But that's a teaser. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. Both of these things happened when I was traveling, because when the CRA thing happened, I was in Nashville. I remember when this happened in Nashville, and I was in Nicaragua when it happened.
Coop, one sec.
BCA. So
Peter, the BCA is the Boutique Cigar Association. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. And and maybe that's a good point. The Boutique Cigar Association, they're trying to represent the interests of the small mom and pop type of cigar companies, very small operations. I think, there is a place for them to certainly be grouped and gathered, and they have needs. But I'll be honest, it's really been kind of a hodgepodge effort for a while, but it seemed like this year they were getting their stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
They finally they want to go to trade show. They really cleaned up their membership and the website. I thought all the things they were doing were really positive, and now this happens. And I'm just like, what the hell here? What are you guys doing? You guys are better.
Two steps forward, one step back.
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 1 step back, man. This is kind of the growing pains of, I don't know how long the BCA has been around, but the growing pains of kind of working with a new company. If they are going to bring on a company to help them with media, they should really have someone, like you said, either on the board or the board looking over posts, and like they're not having to create the content, but they're having to look over and say, yeah, this is good enough, and then it goes through.
Yeah, and I agree. It should, there has to be part of where I was critical of them is I got very critical of them last year because they were responding to the whole responsible marketing thing, and they were calling for self-regulation. They were putting these statements out there. I'm like, well, who's putting these statements out there? Like, what is you're just saying we're against it, and you instead of coming up with a policy and a plan of action, you're just putting out these random positions. Like, I think sometimes organizations do need to move slower for a reason. Some big companies move slower sometimes for a reason. You know, and you really sometimes have to just kind of vet this stuff through before. I understand you want to be responsive to needs, but you just can't do that sometimes. I mean, I was telling Matt, for example, bigger companies with press releases, a lot of times they go through legal reviews, and there's reasons for that with bigger companies. So there's a lot more exposure with those types of things. So they do have to move slower sometimes. And I think the BCAB as a growing organization, they just have to kind of slow it down a bit, and just understand that they have to have a process for how these communications are going out, and that doesn't seem like there is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's some stuff.
I don't
that,
want to be destructive towards them, but I'm trying to be constructive here. Is what I'm trying to get some feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and we've been in this position before. When we've talked, especially with specifically trade organizations, CRA, even PCA. We've had some tough love against PCA.
And I don't think CRA has really fixed what I was looking for, by the way. So that yes, they're not doing the stupid memes, but I'm still not seeing them promote advocacy enough on their social media platform. And that's, I had Glenn Loop on the other night. He's talking about why we don't cover more state stuff. Well, no one's promoting these types of advocacy things on social media. And that's what these organizations need to be doing right now. So
At the end of the day,
PCA has been the best of them so far. They've done good with it.
When you hear things like, oh, why aren't you promoting this or that, in terms of like what Glenn Loop said, it's like, are you sending media a press release for us to say this is what the message we need to put out, right? Like, are they doing that?
I'm not
every once in a while.
Every once in a while, but also I really don't think it's my job to post unless it's something very major. Like if it's a major call to action, then we'll say, hey, look, the CRA or PCA, whatever's getting behind this call to action in Idaho or something like that, or for example, what happened up in Canada, what they did up in Canada. Those are things that I think I will put in it. But in general, I want to understand more about the legislation behind it too before we post something, and that's why this is time consuming, because sometimes you'll read the legislation and it's not really what it's all cracked up to be, is what I'll just say.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a few of those. When they come across my desk, I read them, I see what they're all about. Sometimes things get posted, and most of the time things get posted. Sometimes things don't. But for the most part,
Yeah, I look for accomplishments. Okay.
Yeah.
When I post something about like legislation, so if there's an accomplishment, hey, we blocked this bill, or unfortunately, it's a decomplishment when one passes, I'm going to report on that so people are aware of it. If it's making its way, I had this issue with the KMA guys. They wanted to cover this thing in Ohio. It hadn't made its way through the whole legislation yet. I'm like, guys, this is not stuff they read it from someone else, obviously. I said, I don't think we need to be at that level. I think unless it's something that's a severe infraction of our rights, like Tobacco 21 getting stuffed into the appropriations or the omnibus or whatever it was, right? That's something that's a major thing we're talking about here.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I just don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth to do it, and I don't have the readership that's going to justify doing it on that piece. Other things I do get when I do big FDA stories, they get the turnaround. But I just have to be selective. Unfortunately, I don't have the bandwidth to do it. And that's you guys. They have these social media channels. They should be pushing this stuff out there. And why isn't CRA pushing that stuff out there? I'm really glad I could learn about a box of Ashton cigars though from them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And thanks for and I appreciate them also pushing out Cigar Aficionado's article on Pro Sabor. Thank you guys for that as well. Look, and look serious. Once in a while, I don't mind putting something out there like that. I think that's a little hard on the Pro Sabor thing, because I think that is something that people should be aware of from a cigar rights standpoint. But a box of Ashton cigars, honestly, do you really need to be putting that out there? Cigar of the day. I'd rather know what's going on right now in Nebraska or something like that. I think that's something that they should be doing. I don't understand why they're not putting time into that.
Yeah, why are we not hearing more about the tax hikes in New York right now, or stuff like that?
Sure,
we're reading about what Cigar of the Day is.
Yeah, and he told
they
us
need
about
to
all
use
this
their
stuff.
social media to push that kind of stuff, right?
They need to do that. And by the way, you're going to get much more bandwidth than me doing it.
As well as it allows our private accounts to share those kinds of things. So like, you have your Cigar Coop account, and that's going to have the bandwidth to do your own press releases. But say
Right.
I'm following PCA, I see they post something that I'm interested in, I comment, I share it. It doesn't take 2 seconds for me, but if I have to get a press release, write my notes about it, put it on the website, etc., well, Matt does all that, but you know what I mean? It takes time. Whereas
Yeah.
a like, a
Yeah.
comment, and a share is so much easier.
Yeah, and a great example, Mitchell, was cigaraction.org when they expanded into Canada. And I thought that was a very significant thing, and I kind of explained that, one is this is what they're doing in Canada, too. This is significant because it's now for the first time PCA's moving into an international focus. These are things I'm able to kind of write about and inform my readers as opposed to a cut and paste job here. And then, here, by the way, here's where cigaraction.org goes. Go read about that.
Yep.
But, so I think that they're not. I mean, they're not. PCA's been a little better about it in some cases, but CRA's been atrocious about it, and it's really bothering me.
Yeah, it's sad to see the lack of effort on what gets posted on there,
and I'm happy to have a conversation. I know they were reaching out to us last year, but I'm happy to have a conversation about it. This is blocking and tackling 101 here, guys.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that should happen. I think that I think the conversation should be had with some of those people and just be like, hey, because the average consumer is not going to do it, and the manufacturers, the reality is most manufacturers, stuff like that is, it's not really their concern. So the people who really monitor that stuff is us, the media, and so it kind of de facto falls on us to, I feel like, have to call them out and be like, look, you guys aren't doing a great job of this, because this is, at the end of the day, it's kind of our realm. It's media, it's social media, it's websites. That's like what we do. And
if you got time to put up the cigar of the day, right? Or you have time to put up an alert. I mean, I just this is absolutely, no one can possibly explain to me why this isn't getting done with that. I mean, if you have the time to put that up, then you have the time to do the alerts. And then if you're doing the alerts and you want to mix some of that stuff in, more power to it. I get it. I know you're trying to promote the industry, and that's fine. I do think there's other publications, by the way, besides the Cigar Aficionado, just so, maybe they'll be aware. Now, I'll give CRA credit. They did post the smoking tobacco thing, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. Good job by CRA. Good job by the CRA on that one, guys.
They did post it.
They did post it. Yes,
I do appreciate that, and it was nice.
They should get credit up.
It was nice to see. Because I mean, and that's not even about me. Like I said before, and to all the other media people who did share it, Coop shared it, Craig Vanderslice, Cigar Craig shared it, Blind Man's Puff shared it, Boston Jimmy shared it. Who else am I missing? A handful of people did share it, and to those people, I appreciate it. To those who didn't, whatever. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to say it's not about me. I know it's a smoking tobacco event, but it's not about me. It's about the charity and it's about the kids. So I kind of look at it as, don't even do it for me. Do it for the kids. And so I appreciate the people who did share it.
Well, there's other people we do know that maybe didn't share it, but we know that they support the effort too. So
and that's true too. That's true too.
Yeah. I mean, and we know some names that have been very
also,
quiet about that.
I think some people might also be waiting for the release day, closer to the actual event, so they can kind of almost get a bit more involved into the post. We'll find out when that comes around, when we actually have the launch day, if we get a little bit more that way. But yeah, and sometimes they just don't feel comfortable, I guess, sharing stuff from other media sites, and they feel that they have to be a little more silent on it.
Yep.
I get it. I just wanted to say, to ones who did, I do appreciate them, going out of their way to do it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I appreciate
absolutely.
that a lot.
I don't know if we planned on talking about it tonight, but you mentioned the blocking and tackling, and the big game's coming up.
We could talk about that.
Yeah, we
Before
can.
can I make my CRA point as long as we're on here?
Oh yeah, go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
No, yeah. Let's keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
That's
Okay, so
there's more to this.
I have a call out to the Spare Notes audience. Could someone tell me how to change my credit card information on CRA? Because I know for a fact that I had a credit card compromise that I used for all my cigar stuff, and I had a new card issued, and it's going to need to be changed, and I could not find anywhere on the Cigar Rights of America site where my credit card information is accessible. And I don't know if it's just me, but this should not be a hard thing for me to find. Okay. And I had someone else actually in my house help me out with this, and we couldn't find it. Okay. So come on, guys. This is this is basic stuff. People need to be changing their credit card information. So you know what? The auto renew ain't gonna work, guys. Yeah. If someone can find it for me, that's great. But if not, I'm not calling people. So don't tell me to call someone. I'll get the message when it's declined, I'm sure. So, on
Yep.
that. But
Yeah.
it was very annoying. I'm just frustrated. Like how, I see pictures of Ashton cigars. How can I not access my account information on here? That should be an easy thing. I should be able to switch cards whenever I do. I could not find that. So if someone knows it, please message me privately or send me an email or something. But no, I'm not calling someone to do this. Okay. They will just. I'll get the email, and when they don't get there, because my auto renew hits at the end of this month. So
You know, and it's funny. Like anything, when people don't get their money, that's when they come calling. So
that's when they come. But this should be. I'm trying to make sure you guys get your money here, and I'm like, you know what? Why am I'm just going crazy here. Why I'm doing this? So I want to do it, but I'm like, really, guys? Come on, this is. And I know you used to be able to do this with Cigar Rights of America, so I don't know what they did. They redesigned the website. I could not find it.
I know that all of my dues for all the organizations have gone through and been paid. So
Oh, by the way, PCA actually, they actually proactively noticed it, right? But and I don't know how they did, but Aaron contacted me, and I said, here, just change this right away, right? So, but I mean, but there's a place in the system to do that too.
Right.
So, yeah. So I don't understand what this is. Every e-commerce site allows you to change your credit card. This should be no different.
no, I hear you.
And and if it's obvious and I'm missing it, I'll issue an apology. I had someone else look at this today, so
I'm expecting
like,
a press release apology here, video and all.
yeah. Come on, guys. I mean, you guys got time to put Ashton pick. I'm gonna keep going back on it. I know.
Why do you keep bashing? I mean, it's not Ashton's fault.
No, I like Andy and Ashton, so I'm picking. All right, Padron or something.
You know, you keep mentioning
Padron,
them
yeah.
like it's bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Ashton. It's not their fault. It's just, you know.
They sell a gazillion cigars. Why don't you help one of these BCA companies or something once in a while? I mean, seriously, you have an alliance with them right now. It doesn't hurt.
It's true. That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
It is. I mean, yeah.
Very, yeah. So again, once again, we're having a conversation about the Cigar Rights of America, and it's not a good one, unfortunately. And hopefully it turns around. But,
I don't want to just say I'm picking on the BCA because I'm accused of picking on them a lot, and I have. But I picked on CRA very hard in the last 12 months too.
Next thing on the list was the smoking study.
Yep, and then we'll get to I do want to get to the game stuff that Mitchell talked about.
Oh, that's right, Mitchell. You want to do that now? Want to do it now? We can do it now.
Might as well, break up some of the intense, cigar talk here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, I don't really watch much NFL. I pretty much just look at scores and that's about it. But it's always fun to talk about sports and what's going on. I try to talk about the roof. I try to watch the big game every once in a while, but who do you guys got to win?
Well, we know who Coop wants.
Well, I have made no secret. I've gone into the Eagles camp. Okay, I'm a Giants fan, but I have ties to the Philly area. I know what that team means to that city. I know it means to a lot of my friends. So I am rooting for the Eagles on that, and I do think the Eagles win an epic game. This is going to be. I think this is going to be one of the great games. I think it's going to be 31-28 Eagles. I think and here's the other thing that people don't realize, okay? Because I do stay very tuned into the Philly sports scene. This is a huge game for Philadelphia, not because they're just in the Super Bowl. You couldn't get a better matchup than Andy Reid, okay? One of the most polarizing guys in the history of Philadelphia. He was run out of town. There was a love-hate relationship with him, and they loved him when he won the Super Bowl years later. They were all happy for him. And now they're going against big, bad Andy Reid, right? The guy, they love to hate. So it's a huge story here. But I think this is going to be an epic game. I think these are the two best teams. And I think we're going to have a very special Super Bowl. A lot's going to depend on Mahomes. But I'm telling you, I think Chase Daniel will even – if he has to come in that game, I still think he's going to do some things here. I think we're going to have a great game here.
I think so too. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Chiefs have a good team. Eagles have a good team. Mahomes has some questionability on 100% health, but I believe Jalen Hurts also maybe has potential shoulder. He's going to play, but I heard he's got something with the shoulder.
He's had it before the playoffs too. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the NFC game wasn't exactly a struggle for them, so.
No, they had two easy games. I mean, the Giants were during the last show were destroyed.
Yeah.
And look, San Francisco. I mean, they had McCaffrey running the Wildcat for a few plays. So Purdy comes back in there. He's severely hurt. I mean, but yeah. So they haven't been tested in the playoffs yet.
I think that's a good point though, and that could actually come up to bite them. Like maybe they're just not expecting. They haven't been pushed to the limit of what they're needing to play and in the playoff mentality. And who knows? Maybe the Mahomes just comes out freaking firing, and they're just like, what the heck? And there's just 2-3 run lead in the first half.
Yeah, I mean it could be very interesting. Andy Reid has been to the Super Bowl several times now. He seems to have gotten over losing these big games. I mean, that was the whole thing. Andy Reid couldn't win the big game in January. Now he's this is his third Super Bowl with the Chiefs, fourth overall. So there's a lot more experience. Mahomes has been there before as well. So
because Andy Reid was the coach of the Eagles when we beat them back at Super Bowl 39, 38.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when he went to 5 straight NFC championships in that run. I think that was the fourth of the 5 that he went to.
NFC championships.
NFC championships. Yes.
Yeah. Because they got the one win, they got the loss with the Chiefs. This will be his third with the Chiefs. The one with the Eagles. Yes, this is his fourth. What they're calling the Andy Reid Bowl.
The Andy Reid Bowl.
And if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, he actually have more wins with the Chiefs than with the Eagles. What was that? Something about his wins. Oh, we lost Coop. What's that stat? Something about Andy Reid. Oh, I think he's the winningest coach in Eagles history, and if he wins the Super Bowl, he'll be the winningest coach. Coop, is it that he's the winningest coach with the Eagles, and if he wins the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, that one win will make him the winningest Chiefs coach? Isn't that what it is?
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to be. I mean, he's been with the Chiefs 10 seasons already. So I would say if he's not the winningest, he is.
Close.
I think that's what it is. I think the Super Bowl would make him the winningest coach in Chiefs history.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know the stats, but that seems right. If like I said, he's definitely up there. I mean, he's one of the greatest coaches in the history of football. So,
and if they win, he's got a fat cheeseburger waiting for him too.
Oh, you know that. But you know what? Sirianni is a really good coach. He's Philly mentality through and through. This guy, they like him a lot. And he's done I mean, Sirianni, you got to look at what he's done this year. Okay, he's beaten Brian Dable 3 times, the guy who people are saying a coach of the year candidate. He beats Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs, another guy who is a coach of the year candidate. He's beaten some very good. He beat Doug Peterson, I believe, too, who's also a coach of the year candidate. So you look at that, he's beaten these guys, and certainly he's got to be considered for coach of the year as well.
I forget who beat the Cowboys. Was that San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the Dan Quinn magic. I'm still waiting. I kept
Dan
hearing about it that
Quinn.
whole game. Oh, the Dan Quinn magic is coming. I'm still waiting.
Dan Quinn's defense in the fourth quarter was atrocious.
I'm
He
still
actually,
waiting.
Oh, that was in the offensive coordinator. The guy who got fired. Don't figure that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I
but,
saw him. I saw something today that I thought was interesting, and it was people need to stop firing everyone around Dak and realize that he's the problem.
I don't know.
Thoughts?
I like Dak. I think he's a good quarterback. You know.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think
I think McCarthy's a good coach too. I do think he's a very good coach.
You know who I do
But,
think needs to go is fucking what's his name? Oh my god, why is
You narrowed it down. You narrowed it down a lot.
Yeah, that was a good one there, Matt.
Ezekiel Elliott. He's got to go.
Maybe he needs to change the scenery. Yeah.
I think he's got to go. I think the Cowboys are not benefiting with him on the team. I think he needs to leave. Then again, I'm not a fan of his to begin with, but I don't think he's doing anything good
The
for them.
Cowboys have some offensive line, though, man. I mean, that's why you look at a guy like Cooper Rush, why he looks so good. That offensive line is as good an offensive line as there is in football. You can say what you want about Jerry Jones. If he's still the guys picking the players, they're picking some very. I mean, you got to have an offensive line, and he's got a good one.
Yeah. I mean, they're close. You know, it's not like they're finishing last. I mean, they're getting to the playoffs. You know, I think they need a couple of tweaks. The Cowboys can probably win. In all fairness, it's not like they're that far out.
Windows closing. I think the window's closing with them.
It is. So I mean, you get next year. You know, this is a good off season. Maybe you make a couple more moves that are just right. Maybe the Cowboys make it. I mean, they're not far, but you're right. They're losing time. They're losing time.
They are. I mean, it's like a 5-year window. And look, the Chiefs are getting to the end of that thing right now. I think, Mahomes has still got a lot of years left, but there's other guys around him who are getting older. So San Francisco absolutely has got the window closing. They have to get a quarterback next year. I mean, they have to. They can't bring. I don't think you bring Garoppolo back either.
Nope.
They're gonna have to look at an Aaron Rodgers or a Derek Carr or someone to come in. Baker Mayfield.
I think Raiders take Aaron Rodgers. I think San Francisco takes Derek Carr. I think Garoppolo gets traded to someone like Green Bay, or maybe he gets released. He signs somewhere else. I definitely don't see him with San Francisco next year. He definitely goes somewhere else. Maybe the Rams pick him up.
I'm saying I think Rodgers stays in Green Bay.
Really? I don't know.
I think there's something that team. Let's take LaFleur out of it. I think they're gonna find a way to keep him there and say, let's finish your career as a Packer. Let's finish something about finishing your year as a Packer.
Retire him out there.
Yeah, I agree. But does he want to? Does he feel like I'm running out of time? Like I just want to go somewhere and get another one.
Would you go to San Francisco when you have Trey Lance and Brock Purdy sitting in the wings? Unless you sign like a 1-year deal or something like that with it.
Does he go to the Raiders?
Why would you go? It's a mess, that team. Yeah. I mean, maybe the Raiders. I think the Niners would still be a better option because
I think so too. But
they're a really deep team. I mean, I think Garoppolo. I have this feeling Garoppolo is going to the Jets.
Oh, the Jets! I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I think Garoppolo goes to the Jets.
And
I think they're going to try. And now the Jets are trying to get Rodgers. The Namath deal with the number 12 is a big deal, and that's a big deal. And Joe Namath is still Joe Namath in New York City. He's Broadway Joe still for a reason. So the Jets, they are able to attract these free agents. The Jets, so that's never been a problem for a Jet to get free agents.
Jay, we're going to talk about that in a second. Jay's asking about the CDC report. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, we have a whole segment on the CDC report.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. This is going to be a very interesting offseason. Tom's officially gone now. I'm.
Oh, we think.
You think he does it again? Do you think he does it again? You think someone goes, Tom, Here's an offer you can't refuse. And he's like, you know what, guys? I'm sorry. I got to come back out again.
I think it's a I think it's a less than 25% chance, but I don't think it's a 0% chance.
Yeah, with Tom, you never know. But
You know what?
I think he's
Tom
done.
should just retire. He's had a great career. There's nothing more he has to prove. You know, Peyton Manning. Even though if Peyton Manning didn't win that Super Bowl that last year, he had a terrible final year. The only reason why he got in there because he won the Super Bowl with that Denver defense. So Brady didn't have a bad year this year either. That's the thing. He had a very good year.
Oh, you know what? Here's another name. And then it reminds me of another thing while we're on the football talk. And you'll know where I'm going with this when I say it. JJ says Saints need a quarterback too. What do we think about the Saints? Now,
They need a new coach.
Sean Payton goes to Denver, and now
Yep.
will be the coach with Russell Wilson. I think that'll be an interesting combo.
I think it's going to fix Russell Wilson.
Yep.
I
I
don't
think that might be
Russell-
what Denver needs.
You get Nathaniel Hackett who comes in there and lets Russell Wilson come into training camp completely out of shape. That's a discipline problem.
Sean Payton
and,
wouldn't let that happen.
Sean Payton's going to have this guy running laps in March. Trust me. This guy's going to be hitting the gym. And if not, Sean Payton will get that job done.
Yeah, Sean Payton is definitely a no-nonsense coach. I've been a huge fan of his for a long time, especially when he was with the Saints. The great Saints teams that he had. He is a no-nonsense coach.
Look at where he came in. Like, the Saints were as bad a professional sports franchise as any. I mean, they had a couple glimmers in the 90s and stuff, but they were terrible, right? And he comes in there. He doesn't just win a Super Bowl. He establishes a winning culture. Yeah, the whole bounty thing was a bad thing, okay? It was bad, and he paid the price. He got suspended for a year, and hopefully that never happens again. But that was that's a black mark on Sean Payton, and I won't excuse him from it at all.
Yeah.
But he paid the price. I mean, the guy was not able to do anything for a year, and hopefully he learned his lesson.
Jay said Russell Wilson needs to see the Wizard of Oz, and Skip said Russell Wilson has to go. Interesting takes.
I don't know what you do with him. I mean, you get rid of him, then yeah, but that's not gonna be take that contract.
I think that they're definitely gonna run him next year. See how he does with Sean. If Sean gets him into shape, great. If not, I think time to go. Yep.
You think if the Jets maybe go to them and say, "Hey, we'll take that contract. We're going to give you some draft picks." Do you think the Saints, the Broncos do it? I don't think so. But
I don't think so either. No.
I think they look. Everyone thought when Denver got Russell Wilson, Carney was pricking them to go to the Super Bowl, and Carney knows his football, right? I mean,
he does.
He does. I mean, and this guy only 3 years ago threw 40 touchdown passes, you got to remember. I don't think he's the same player that threw 40 touchdown passes. I think some of his skills with age have diminished, but I don't think he's a bad. I think what we saw last year was a coaching problem, I believe. And not because it was a discipline issue with that team. There was clearly no discipline on that team. How do you let that guy come into training camp like the way he did last year? God,
I agree.
Hard. I mean, he looked like Andy Reid.
Come on, don't be mean. Wasn't that bad? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has walked into training camp looking like Nicolas Cage the last couple of years. So, I mean,
but Aaron Rodgers, man, he's out there playing hard.
No, I know.
I think Aaron Rodgers was hurt this year too. Was part of the problem too.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think if he stays in Green Bay, I won't be shocked, but I think Aaron Rodgers finds a new team.
Possible. Definitely possible.
Because even if Green Bay wants to keep him and keep the franchise story to the end, he might look at it like, I don't see winning here, and I want to win one more before I go. He only has one. Brady had 7, and he was still chasing them because he just wanted them all. But, these guys that got one, especially the guys that have none, but, you got one. I mean, you got one, but, a lot of guys are like, I want more than one, Peyton's got 2. Unfortunately, Eli has 2. I think Mahomes will definitely have at least 2 in his life. If he doesn't win this one.
I think you're muted again, Coop.
Yeah, I was holding back on my comments to Matt on the email.
Yeah, he didn't because I mentioned the Eli. So
But here's the thing. I don't think this is a problem with Rodgers and LaFleur, because if Rodgers wanted LaFleur gone, LaFleur would have already been gone.
that's true.
So I don't think that's an issue there. So I think he's okay with the coaching staff there. It's a matter of if he wants to move his family and finish his career somewhere. I think that those are the things. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if he has kids, so I shouldn't even say. But it's a matter.
I don't
of,
think he
if wants-
does.
I don't think he does. But it's a matter of lifting. If he wants to uplift himself.
I don't even think he's
do that.
married. I don't think he's even
No,
dating
he
anybody.
he was dating Danica for a while, right?
Oh, that was years ago.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm just saying. So I think there's some. I think it's like a 50% chance he stays there. Like I said, if he wanted LaFleur gone, LaFleur would have already been gone.
Yeah, no, I
You
agree.
know?
I agree.
Yeah.
He's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think that he might look at other aspects and be like, there's not enough here, and if there's. An
would you go to the Jets with that culture? I
don't think
they
he
could
would
make
want to
it-
go to the Jets.
Yeah, I don't think so. San Francisco, he's going to have two guys looking behind him. Even though I know they're both hurt, but he's got two good prospects behind him right now.
And then the longer he stays in Green Bay, the longer Jordan Love just continues to sit on the bench. And
Well, a lot of people I talk to are Packers fans are not sold on Jordan Love. So
true, but
Yeah.
you would think that the Packers' long-term solution was to get him in there, and the older he gets and the less he plays, at what point does he become kind of not enough to be a starter?
yeah, Green Bay's problems the last few years have been on the defensive side of the ball. That's where the problems have been with that team. And if they could have fixed those problems, and like I said, I can criticize LaFleur being in playoff games, but the defense has been a problem with that franchise for a while now.
I agree. We do as much as that we could go on all night about this, and we have a lot of
Wait,
comments.
I got one question for you before we move on. Is Smoking Tobacco doing a halftime show and a post-game show this year?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
You forgot about it. You changed the whole game with that a few years ago.
I think we will. I got to reach out to Carney. Well, I will say Carney's very sick right now, so I don't know. But you know what? Let me text him right now.
Well, he's been fighting something for a while, eh?
Yeah, go down to DR is not the answer when you're sick either.
I spoke to him today. He's in very bad shape. He's very, very sick. He's been sick for a while. He was getting sick when I saw him in December in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he's been sick this whole time. It's been tough. And he even said, traveling probably hasn't been the best and stuff like that. But I get it. He's got to work too. But it sucks. I feel for
cigar,
him.
John. We need your Pro Cigar. Get healthy, man.
I told him, go get an IV bag. Go get some rest.
get some rest.
Take some days. And I think he said he got some days off now to kind of stay at home and recuperate, which I think he needs.
I do too.
Hopefully he is in good shape for next weekend, and we can do the halftime show. I think that would be huge. It probably will be. I did send him a message. I'm like, yo, halftime show? I'll be honest, I did forget about it. But we can still put it together. It's we get time. But yeah, no, that's a good point. I want to. You know what? With or without him, let's do it. Oh, look at this. He texted me. Maybe he's watching. Absolutely. All right, we're doing it.
Good.
You guys coming too?
Good.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing it. Halftime show.
Be honored.
So
I'll try. It depends on who can look after my kid.
yeah, that's true. If you can't make it, it's all good. But
Yep.
we'll have Carney and Coop. That'll be a dynamic duo in itself.
Yep.
Those are the important ones.
Well, those are the guys who've been there. So it wouldn't be the same without them. But for sure, if you can come, definitely. It's always nice to get an outsider's opinion on American football.
Yep.
I just love Rihanna, so that's.
By the way, if you want to know everything about Rihanna, we just recorded a show on her. We did a whole.
Hey man, I'm stoked for that jukebox show because I've been listening to Rihanna for years. I love her stuff.
Yeah, Dave is a Dave's a freak when it comes to her. He is.
He's a
He's
freak.
He is more. He is more excited about that halftime show in the game. And here's the bad news: he has to work, right? Because it's Monday morning in
Oh,
Australia,
man.
so he's not gonna be able to. So he's recording it. He said
He's got to call in sick.
Yeah, it's well, he just took 5 weeks off to go to the U.S., so it's like a little
Yeah,
tough
that's true.
to take up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I don't know. The halftime shows the last couple of years have been meh, but we'll see. Rihanna might be able to turn it around.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have already got some comments already on. Jay was already asking about the CDC thing. Alan was commenting on it too. So I know people are already anticipating that conversation. So well, let's get into it. Coop, I'll let you start it and get it going for us, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. So there was a survey that was commissioned by the Center for Disease Control, and basically what this survey said is they asked, and I want to make sure I get this right. There was a survey done. They basically surveyed a subset of people. About 6,400 people were surveyed, and they were asked basically, would you support a policy to ban the prohibition of all tobacco products? And from what I understand, 57.3% said they would support a ban. And there's a lot of controversy about this study here. Because this came up on KMA this morning, and the first question is, why is the CDC even doing this and spending money doing this? And then the question I raised is, if this came out the other way, where 57 point whatever said don't ban tobacco, this would have never seen the light of day. But yet they did this survey. So I think that there's a lot we can break this down and get into, because I think it was probably a very one-sided survey.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, who were the people who were vetted? Like,
They don't really go into that from what I can see. They just said they were chosen at random, and it was like I think they said it was an online, and they were randomly recruited by mail.
And it was tied in with menthol cigarettes, okay? There was another question on menthol cigarettes. Yeah. And I think that question, when it came to all tobacco products, I wonder if people even thought about premium cigars.
They probably didn't.
They probably didn't. They probably said cigarettes. And again, the usage pattern of a cigarette and a premium cigar and a pipe are all different. So that's where, I didn't see a copy of the survey, but I would be wanting to see that broken down by the different tobacco products. Because we're concerned about cigars and pipes to a lesser extent.
The difference between the menthol question and the all tobacco was only 5%. So only 5% of people were like, oh, okay, yeah, like I think that menthol should be banned, and then 5% less people were like, okay, I think all tobacco should be banned. But again, if they ask the menthol question first, then it's almost like influencing them to be like, we're talking about cigarettes and cigarette. And then they ask the next question, should all tobacco products? And then they're like, oh yeah, all other cigarettes should be banned, not just menthol cigarettes. Like, that's what would go into my head if I were to just ask those questions side by side. Yep. I wouldn't think like, should pipe tobacco be banned? Should hookah tobacco be banned? Like shisha, should, premium cigars? That wouldn't really cross my mind, even like as a regular consumer. So I don't know how it was asked to them. And again, like you said, who are these people? That's always a good question. Even in there, they say in the study, like this study doesn't represent the entire population as a whole. It just represented like a certain populace. So the other thing is they used two words. One was strongly support and somewhat support. So that was like whether you strongly support the ban or somewhat support the ban. And if you chose one of those two options, you got put into the side of you support the ban. So even if like everyone put somewhat support, which most likely would mean that they would support the ban of, say, cigarettes or menthol cigarettes, and maybe not support the ban of premium tobacco or pipe tobacco, they were considered in the ban all tobacco. They were just lumped in with everyone else of ban all tobacco, even if you just said somewhat support. So that's like another major issue, like that doesn't really break anything down. And our whole fight this entire time is distinguishing premium tobacco to the rest of, OTP, other tobacco products. It really skews the things, and especially when they put out headlines of, majority of Americans want to ban all tobacco. It's like there's a 57%. Like that's not even a massive majority.
Yeah.
That's like like a few more, like it could have swung either way if you asked probably just a slightly different demographic. It could have been the majority of people don't want to ban tobacco. Like if you just ask like a slightly different demographic.
Yeah, Mitchell, I kind of exactly, I'm completely agreeing with you on this. Yeah, you're right.
Jay made a long thing here, and I can't really pull it up on screen because I think it'll cover the entire thing. So I'll kind of read it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm going to read it for everyone who's listening to. Quote, respondents were asked two main questions. To what extent would you support a policy to prohibit the sale of menthol cigarettes? To what extent would you support a policy to prohibit the sale of all tobacco products? They were allowed to reply with one of the four options: strongly support, somewhat oppose, strongly oppose. The authors state that they weighed results based on demographic data such as age, race, gender, location, and income. It also asked respondents about cigarette use, 11%, menthol cigarette use, 6.4%, and non-cigarette tobacco use, 8.3%.
So it was a very heavily weighted towards the non-smoking, right?
So of course,
Yep.
non-smokers are going to say, "I don't want it," because
Right.
why would they?
Right.
And this is where this is without really getting too into this kind of topic, but this is where the politics game gets into a play. You go after the people who you know are going to answer a certain way, and you ask them the question. And if you get the answer that you want.
If the PCA did this, right, you'd see 99% like in favor of, no ban, of course. I mean, so it's exactly that's the case. And look, the CDC is trying to justify their existence here. So, I mean, that's why they're doing this.
I think the CDC should just mind their own business on this one.
They should be focusing on scientific. They should be focusing on, you want to survey on scientific stuff or do some studies on scientific stuff. That's what you guys should be doing here.
What is it that Travis Kelce said? Stay in your lane and shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, focus on educating the populace and protecting the populace that way. Of at the end of the day, you guys live in the United States of America, a free country, and you should have the right to choose the things you want to choose. And the CDC should be there to help educate and just let you know, hey, this is what's going in, and if something is literally poisonous in your food, yeah, they should probably regulate that. But it's like focus on the education.
That's the FDA, but that's the FDA's job to regulate.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
In the FDA, sorry. Oh, excuse me. And the FDA, as we all know, isn't the best.
Well, they were just told to step back, right? They just lost.
If you were to survey 100 doctors and say if smoking's healthy for you, they're gonna. Well, how are they gonna answer? Of course they're gonna answer it's not healthy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I agree.
You could ask the same thing about drinking. You could ask the same thing about consuming massive amounts of sugar. You could ask the same thing about, I don't know,
I am curious if, I would like to, again, this would be something, hey, if Cigar Rights of America is looking for something to do, kind of pick apart this study here and really mobilize you, saying, this is where you push that this is a luxury product. It's it's more of a lifestyle type product. It's not. It's like having a glass of wine or something like that. That's where you kind of push this piece a lot more, and that's where CDC, because CDC is, again, they're looking at this. They're doing a broad stroke here with this. But unfortunately, they got this message out, and it made Matt. You sent me a link on this today from CNN. It made mainstream media. If they had published this the other way, it would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wouldn't have even. No one would have even talked about this, right? So they're playing the political game here on this. Like, and they're justifying their existence here.
And Jay has put a link to it on the CDC website in the comments. So for those who want to read that, I get it up there, but you can join it in the comments on Facebook. In the Facebook chat.
Is there a place to public comment on this?
On
Probably
what?
not.
Oh, it's got the data. It's got all the data here.
Yeah.
So it's a nice breakdown of the data here. But there's no place, of course, to comment on this.
Of course.
Oh, wait, there's discussion. There is a discussion piece. No, it's not. It's not. So yeah.
And again, like where? So we kind of go back. Where's the CRA on stuff like this too? This is the stuff that they should be.
Yeah. No, but I'll give them look. Unless they got this survey early, which I don't know if they did. I say we give them a little time on that.
It's been 2
the
days,
interesting one is I looked at. If you go to the bottom, right, they have current non-cigarette tobacco usage, right, and it's less than. You look at this for those numbers are kind of interesting, because they have for yes, supporting a policy to prohibit the sale of all tobacco products. 22% who are not using non-cigarettes answered that, and 77% said they oppose it. So if you look at those numbers, they kind of flip for the non-cigarette in a lot of those.
Right. And we've talked about some of these studies before. Sorry, I'm just.
A lot of them say no. A lot of them say no with that one, and that's kind of interesting with that. So, but also cigarette. It actually wasn't that far from the cigarette. Cigarette was 25.2% who are using cigarettes, and then 22 for non-cigarettes. So it wasn't as big as I thought it was. Okay, scratch that comment. I was reading it wrong.
I have it in front of me. I'm just kind of on the CDC data. I just wanted to have it in front of me. Now this this kind of brings me back to. I mean, last year we saw the NASEM report, right? And we talked a lot about that, and I feel like we haven't really followed up with that recently.
A little promo. If you hear the show we did with Glenn Loop, we did touch on it. For a bit.
I watched that show. I know you guys did bring it up, but
I brought up the issue I thought to Josh and Glenn about how I thought this was very damaged. The advertising piece is something I'm very worried about. And they didn't dispute that. They assured me that it's something they're keeping an eye on, for sure. So I'm gonna trust the process here with that. But yeah, we haven't. And I think everything they're waiting for is Meta's final ruling. I think everything's waiting. They're waiting on this Meta thing right now.
Right.
And he said, there was a lot of things that, there was a lot of other things that happened in, the country that really took precedence over that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I remember that.
System. Yeah.
Specifically, a lot of the January 6th stuff and
January 6th stuff, which Meta was involved with. So
right.
Kind of understand that. I even understand there's a pecking order with that. So I asked if the delay was bad. I was concerned that the delay was a bad thing, and then they brought up the January 6th stuff.
Right. For those who maybe don't know, Coop, could you just tell the audience a little bit more about what exactly is, pending in that ruling from Judge Mehta?
Well, basically, obviously, the question is, obviously they ruled in favor of the cigar industry as far as the deeming rule being arbitrary and capricious, one-sided, not done fairly. So the question is, what does Meta tell the FDA to do? Does he tell them, you got to go back to the drawing board? Or does he take another position saying, we're throwing this whole thing out and you guys got to start from scratch again? Or somewhere in between. Most people think it's going to be somewhere in between.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to throw it. I think there's things that Meta's said already that doesn't make me indicate he's throwing that rule out. But he is going to say, remember he called out the whole thing on, the underage use as being bullshit. I mean, he called the FDA out on that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
That was their own. That was the whole arbitrary and capricious type of thing. They manipulated the data, and it was misleading. That was a big thing that worked in favor of the cigar industry.
I mean, at the very least, stuff he does go against. What do you predict?
I believe he is going to throw parts of this thing out, but he's going to give the FDA a timetable to probably to kind of modify the deeming rule.
Okay.
And present some new data. I have a feeling this is going to be not the end of the case. So.
I agree.
Yeah.
Not the end, but like a mixed bag. But in which direction?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think from my conversations with Charlie, I don't think Charlie thinks they're throwing the rule out either. So, and I think I would trust Charlie Minato as probably a guy who's got a really good sense of this. A guy who spent hours and hours following these cases. So I trust Charlie's opinion on this. I would say if Charlie's saying it, I'll kind of back that too. But definitely, it's not going to be that deeming rule is not going to stay intact the way it is.
Alan said, Jade probably knows more about this issue than me. Am I wrong to assume this isn't the first time the government has conducted surveys? So, yeah, no.
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, they certainly have a right to conduct a survey. There's no reason why they can't conduct a survey. But the problem is how this stuff gets hit out the mainstream media. So that's where it's damaging. And unfortunately, that's where we have to start going on. That's where the industry has to start going playing defense again.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year we got to PCA, and they were all celebrating, woohoo, we're free. But don't start the parade yet.
No, don't. But let me say, we were taking look. I've been following this thing since 2016. We were taking defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. Even the first round with Meta was kind of a defeat, and then it was challenged again. So, and like I said, there's other things the FDA can go after this industry on, and they will. And that's why I was so concerned about the NESM report and the advertising piece. That is something that absolutely they can take as low-hanging fruit right now. And I do believe this industry has to go on the offensive with that before it's too late.
I agree. I mean,
they can make it very. They can just write the demon, but you know what? We're gonna crank. You guys can crank up these rules on advertising. Because Meta's going to not argue that. Meta, I think, believes from a science standpoint, I don't think he thinks cigars, I think he does think there's harmful things with cigars. I think I do think that. So a lot that worries me about that NESM report right now. I keep going back to that. I mean, you and I looked at the examples. They pulled out the Fuente ad, the Drew Estate barn smoker communications.
Yep.
And you want to know why stuff's going to go through legal reviews with communications with this. That's the reason why. I guarantee Drew Estate's going to have a major legal review before any of that stuff goes out. I actually met Drew Estate's general counsel down at Pure Sabor, by the way. Really
you did?
Nice guy, sharp guy. Yes. Yeah, I do. He was down there. So he has other responsibilities besides general counsel, so that's why he was there. But yeah, he's a very integral part of that team. So...
Yeah, it's definitely a decision that everyone's going to keep a close eye on. You really don't know what to expect. It can be good, it can be bad. The way that things are going lately, I have to assume that eventually something bad happens to this industry. Not that I want it to, but just The times they are changing.
It's always we're gonna take more defeats along the way. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But like the menthol cigarette debate's been going on all my life.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
now this is the close, but it's starting to inch towards a conclusion here. So.
And someone just made JJ just made a comment. The government is pot is good, cigars are bad, and unfortunately, yeah, that's what we're seeing lately. Is you're seeing marijuana more legalized, and you're seeing tobacco products being pushed out the door.
Well, you wait. Their time's coming. Their time's coming. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they go after the marijuana industry. They just
that's already it's already in prohibition technically at the federal level. So it's not like it's not like they're gonna.
But the states are going to figure out they can get revenue and there's going to be taxes happening. You watch, they're going to hit all this. It's just going to take. Eventually, believe me, they're going to. Their time's coming. Their time's definitely coming.
In what way?
They're going to go after it at some point. They're going to see revenue opportunities. They're going to see a need to regulate this. They're going to see it's like the Wild West, and the same thing's going to happen there.
Right, but I mean, I think we'll see it federally legalized at some point. Because, yes, they will go after those. Well, let's legalize it, but then let's regulate it.
Right. Like, they'll be, let's legalize it. Like, and then after that, well, we're going to regulate. Oh, by the way, user fees, taxation, like revenue. Look at those revenue opportunities we have. We could tax this stuff right now. People love this stuff. Now, they get them hooked on it, right? And then what happens? Then you tax it. That's
yeah, they'll let it be wide open. And then when everyone's doing it, they'll be like, "Oh, you guys all like it? All right, cool. Tax."
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
But in the same breath, we're also seeing push out tobacco, though.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, in Canada, obviously we have. Well, not obviously, but we have legalized cannabis.
100%. Like, what exactly is the?
Yeah. My son was dating someone in Toronto. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I think
so. He
so.
Love his trips to Canada.
So in my province last year, they made close to $112 million. And it's not even fully set into place yet. Like they just passed the laws and there's legal places that can sell it. But there's an overarching goal to have it distributed in our liquor stores, which blows my mind because they don't even sell cigarettes in liquor stores. I don't know. It's a super weird thing. But yeah, the government are going to want their share eventually. You're right, especially with marijuana, cannabis, anything like that. But yeah, it feels ironic that they're doing things like that, yet they want to bring down the ban hammer on things like tobacco use, cigar use. Again, another political thing that just happened here is they just legalized pretty much every hard drug on the street. So they decriminalized heroin, meth, everything. For I think it's a law that's going to hold for about 4 years. I want to say 3 or 4 years, and but yet, like we said, they're bringing in laws to put packaging on all cigarettes that are pretty much it's just a law to try to get rid of all tobacco products because there's so many companies out there that if they were to have to put up some sort of warning label on every single piece of tobacco that is sold, it would be this cigar would come wrapped in a warning label. You would see probably 50% of the industry just leave Canada because it's just how much are you charging now? Because you have to make all these labels for each individual cigar on top of it. It's crazy.
Yeah. When I was in Hoyota, Nicaragua, this past week, I was in the packing room, and I did. Now, Hoya is one of the factories that does do the plain packaging at the factory, and they put the green bands on in those boxes. And I think other companies, they don't do that till the cigars are shipped. Some other companies have to do it, I think, there. So I thought that was kind of interesting when I saw that, because that came up in our tour, and he was explaining. Juan Martinez, who was doing the tour, was explaining it to us.
Yeah, it's but yeah, so it's going to be I think that's the current thing that the CRA is trying to fight is this next level of labeling that they want to bring in, which is more than just plain packaging. It not only is it plain packaging, but it's warning labels on top of the plain packaging of each individual cigar and tobacco product.
Yeah, I mean, agree. I mean, the reason why plain packaging hasn't pushed here is we have big tobacco in this country, and they're fighting. That's something they're steadfast against. So
And they got a
unless
lot of money.
if they cave in on it, we're done. Yep, we're done. But I don't think you have that in Canada to the same extent where it is here.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Now in Canada, with the plain packaging, the regular bands are underneath that.
Yes
Basic
and
ban,
no.
right?
So,
Yes and no,
like
yeah.
Coop was saying, Hoya de Nicaragua, Drew Estate, a lot of these big brands that have distribution in other countries that require plain packaging, just like us, they do it at the factory level. There's a select few brands, especially like the boutique brands. Like last time we were saying on our show, Hiram and Solomon is coming into the country. So the guy who distributes Hiram and Solomon, he himself prints all the bands based off of regulatory instruction from the federal government and gets them approved, and then he puts them on himself and then repackages everything and distributes it out.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So the distributors have to take a lot of the punch because, again, there's only, like I said, there's probably only like maybe 10 brands in all, like 10 companies in all of Canada maybe that have the resources and capabilities to do it at a factory level. Most other companies don't have that ability to maybe send over 50 boxes with plain packaging on them. They just don't, like, that just costs them so much. Like the other day someone was talking about how printing 1,000 bands versus printing 100,000 bands is actually more expensive, even though it's like 100 times less bands. It's actually more expensive because the printing company is like, I don't want to print that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. I mean, I feel like if it happened here, I think it would be a little bit different than Canada. Oh, here we go.
That's the Hoya.
Yep.
Like to go off here,
So-
but yeah.
So another thing, like I found, kind of going back to that CDC thing, I would have really loved for them to break down. They're obviously showing a lot of data broken down, but again, they just put support versus oppose. I would have liked to see what their numbers were with that strongly support and somewhat support, because like I said, those two things are so different. Like almost everything I put down, I very rarely put like I am definitively this way, right? If there's even a chance that I could be swayed to maybe add some exceptions, I'd go with somewhat. So it would be really interesting to see what the percentage of people who said somewhat support, which again means that they're open to the idea of exceptions to a rule, versus strongly support.
They do have some
ban.
they do have some of that in there. They broke it down for the prohibition of menthol cigarettes and the sale of all. They did do that. It's at the
Yes,
bottom
they broke
of the
down those
report.
two.
Yeah, they did break it, but in terms of some of the other demographic stuff, I agree.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Will this
Yeah.
will this change anything? Will this do anything? Hopefully not.
Yep.
I just wanted to talk about my cigar a bit because I'm coming to the end of it. I might light up a second one here.
Jeez, look at that
Delicioso.
nub.
This was delicious.
Would you give that cigar
Wonderful.
91?
I think I give
You
it a
went
90.
through that 60, man, like a pro.
Dude, this kid knows how to smoke. What are you
It's
going to smoke
tasty, man.
next?
What do I got next? Let's see here.
Another
I
All
want to
Saints.
stick with the Nicaraguan theme, so I'm going with the warped nicotine.
All
Warped
right.
nicotina.
Yeah. Interesting.
Have you guys had this?
I have.
I have it. I haven't smoked it yet.
Yeah. I've heard good things.
You've been really
So-
on the Warped brand lately, too.
This
I've
is
been
actually
very
my first
disappointed.
warped one,
Is it?
but I have
I've been,
I have a
I've
couple
been
other ones.
disappointed in Warped lately.
We'll see how this performs. They made out of Tabza, Aganorsa?
Yeah.
Some of it's made out of
yeah.
some of it's made out of the Dominican though. Warped Nicotina may be coming out of the Dominican. I gotta double check that.
Yeah, I don't think they're all made at Aganorsa.
Some are made in the U.S. too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how this performs. How was your Immenso?
It's good. I kind of took a break from it for a second, and then I kind of went back to it. And
No, it's Tabza. That's Tabza. Yep.
Yeah,
it?
that's
Okay.
what I thought.
Which blend did you smoke? The Sungrown or the Maduro?
Who, me? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Sungrown.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Immenso is one of the best values for a big ring gauge cigar too.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the Maduro made my top 25, and I enjoy that cigar. It was number 24. It was the 6x70 size.
And you know what? For a larger ring gauge, it draws really nice. Some of the 70s and the 80s from Asylum, which I do enjoy, but I find them to be, with that thicker ring gauge, I do find them to be a little bit harder to like get the heat
get the smoke
going.
to your
And
mouth.
yeah, this one was much easier to smoke.
I love what Lunatic does with the 80. It's a Bellicoso.
Yeah.
So you can smoke it, and it's not like smoking an 80. I've smoked that 90, by the way. It's unsmokable. Too big.
Well, some of the Discord guys are here, and I know that they disagree with you on that one.
You know.
Jay says the Nicotina is solid. So
Yeah, it's a Topsa release. Yep.
Pre-Light had some just nice little sweetness to it. Nothing crazy.
I'm still working on my TAA.
How's that doing?
Fantastic. Great. You get that San Andreas taste to it. Look, LaFleur, they've done great with the Oro series that they've done for the TAA. I guess something's coming new this year. Hopefully we'll find out about it from Carney sometime soon. But and I have the Solomones now too. So.
Yes, those have shipped.
I haven't even reviewed the Tercera edition. That's coming up later this month. So I'm still behind on those. I'm still doing the 2021 series. I'm going through. We review every TAA cigar and Cigar Coop. I don't know why I do it, because no one really cares about TAA cigars. Our readership shows. So
As we heard from you earlier.
Yep.
So, no surprise.
But LaFleur, I tell you what, when LaFleur does a TAA cigar, I'm there. They do great. They put a lot of effort into it, and it's a really good cigar. Over the years they did the 71 year for the TAA, and I thought that was good.
Well, I mean, I will say, in their defense, I mean, I know that they get really into not just the cigars that they make, but just their involvement with the TAA in general. Carney sits on the board. I know that they take it very seriously. They're really into it. So when they make a cigar that's like, it's going to be special. It's not like, let's just put something together for a TAA. Like, they plan it. I mean, they get into it.
They plan it. The football cigars are the same way. I mean, they really, and when you go to Alito's factory, and I'm going back to the factory this year.
They just had their sales meeting there.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But Lito's down there. I kind of understand that too. He's based down there, so that's and I also think I was making jokes about it, but I also think it is important for reps to see. They have some new reps, so I think it's important for them to see the process down there.
Jay made a good point. People seem to seek out the TAA cigars from Tatuaje, Crownheads, and LFD. I would agree. And those are like the three main TAAs that like I always 9 times out of 10 I'm usually pretty satisfied with. I mean, those are really good.
Crisco's had a couple of good ones, but I did not like the Woodlawn they did in the box press.
I didn't and I like those guys. I like the Ristoff cigars that they do, and the
Bear
Woodlawn
liked it.
did not impress me.
That cigar was meant to be in that Solomon. That's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
It just didn't work with that one. But like I said, I thought Gurkha did a good job this year on their TAA. I think they deserve props for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't hear. Sometimes when Gurkha's done some, you guys had the Revenant on your list this year. Really good cigar. I think they're doing great with Artista.
Yeah.
I hope that, Juan sounds like they're going to do more stuff with them. So, yep. So
that Ghost Gold I'm excited for. I mean, the Ghost Connecticut. Sorry, the Ghost Connecticut. Very excited
Ghost Connecticut. Yeah, and Ghost is Ghost was a cigar when I did my decade list. That was on my decade list of impactful cigars. And people said, "What are you, nuts?" I said, Ghost was a monster brand. It had a lot of sales. And then when I looked at impact brands, Ghost was and Juan said this, he was even saying on the show before I said that to him, it's their workhorse. That is their cigar that they sell the most of.
Definitely.
Gold, he felt they may have misfired a bit with the gold because they didn't do a gold box. And I think he's right on that.
I agree.
I like
the blend. I love that blend.
So yeah, yeah. And that holographic band is beautiful. And it's a good cigar. I mean, I'm not an Arapiraca guy, but I think the Ghost is a decent Arapiraca.
I'm looking at. I'm trying to find. I'm actually on the Cigar Coop website. I'm looking on your decade list. I'm looking to see where you placed that.
It's the Impact one you want to look at.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Impact lines. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the best cigar. There's one that's best cigars, then there's the Impact ones, and that's the second list. And I believe it was somewhere like 22 or 23. It was somewhere. It was. I mean, it made it. It is 21.
Yep, there it is. Gurkha Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in terms of Gurkha, I really think I watched your show with Juan, and he was just on with us, and I really think they have done a really great job, really getting that ship in the right water. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of Gurkha cigars, or cigars, I should say, that carried the Gurkha band, that didn't perform well, and Juan has explained, I think, a lot of that. But you mentioned the Ghost. You can't argue. I mean, the Gurkha Ghost is a workhorse line. I mean, they, that's every brand has that line. That's their bread and butter. I mean, for Arturo Fuente, it's 858. For Gurkha, it's the Ghost. For LFD, it's the DL700 Maduro. I mean, it's the lines that's their bread and butter. That's what keeps the lights on. Yes, there's all these. Fuente's got Opus, and LFD's got the Bull, and Gurkha's got some of those. Majesty's Reserves and whatever those. The higher end crazy ones. Yeah, they all have those, and those are high price and they're popular and everybody wants them because they're more limited and they're fancy. But that's not what pays the bills. What pays the bills is the core line, the stuff that they're banging out every day. The guy who comes in and buys a box every month, because that's what he smokes. That's the stuff that I feel like we don't talk a lot about on these shows. Is we always talk about the cigars and we talk about the stuff that's getting the buzz, but it's the stuff that in the background, every day boxes and boxes are being sold, and that's that's the reality of the industry. I mean, so I think that the expanding, putting a Connecticut shade for them in that Ghost collection, I think is huge because Coop, what's the other thing that all the manufacturers tell us? What's the number one selling SKU? A Connecticut shade.
Yeah, having a Connecticut, it's well overdue. It's the Knuckle Sandwich already has one.
Knuckle Sandwich, boom. The Knuckle Sandwich, and I don't think that was any coincidence. I think they came out with the Habano. I know that Hector has said Eric likes Habano, and they did a Maduro because Maduro is pretty much the thing right now. And those cigars came out, they were a hit, and now it's like let's get a Connecticut shade in there because there's going to be a lot of people who will come for that Connecticut shade. It's just a fact.
Look at what Gurkha did with the Collection Special. It's the Connecticut shade. They come out with a special size for the TAA. They do that packaging, that box it comes in. It really, and guess what? The cigar actually smokes really good too. So it's not something that's just given a nice coat of paint on it. It's a really good cigar. Gurkha, in my mind, they did their homework targeting the TAA with that cigar. I don't think they've done it with some of the previous TAA cigars, but at least the first one they didn't, that Heritage. But the second one they got a little better when they went to Figurado with the Gurkha Nicaragua now, the Collection Reserve. And guys, I talked about this with Juan. What a story to get Gurkha into the TAA. Okay?
Yes. That's right, you did. I remember that.
Because you got to say Gurkha was a, catalog brand like 10 years ago. And a lot of these TA people, they didn't want anything to do with Gurkha. And I think a lot of this, Juan admitted, was the relationship with Colucci had a lot to do with it. Who knows a lot of these TA retailers. But still, what a job to get that in now. And Gurkha is now a mainstay in the series. Really, they deserve credit for that. And I think, like I said, they did good. I think they did one of the better ones last year.
Yeah, and you know what? I just remembered, too. We've been talking about Gurkha all night. Guys, congratulations are in order. Today, Bianca and Juan got married.
Oh, really? It was
Oh
today.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I saw something with Juan Cancel. What am I saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Juan's the only one promoting it.
Yeah. Congratulations to
Well, I
those
think
two.
Juan and Bianca are a little busy though, but it's,
They got better
They're
things to
busy
do
getting,
tonight.
They're busy getting married.
Question is, what cigar did they smoke for their wedding? Because you know that they smoked.
You know, I meant to. I didn't ask Juan that. You know, well, Bianca did something very smart, right? She books Juan on my show right after he gets back from the bachelor party in Costa Rica. I said, brilliant move by Bianca, by the way.
Oh yeah, she's smart.
Yeah, she's smart. Yeah, but I'm really, they're really two good people. I've known them for a while. It's great that Bianca's back in the industry. She stepped away for a little while. But I dealt with Bianca originally at Gurkha, then at CLE, and just a pleasure to deal with. And Juan's always been supportive of us and we've been hard on some of the Gurkha stuff too over the years. So, I think they're doing a really good job.
I agree. I think that they're two great people. I think they're great together. I think they're both great at that company. They've done some great stuff. It's been awesome to watch that ride, and just excited to see more.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you guys, have gotten to know them and everything too, because they're good people. And like I said, I think we asked Juan about still some of the problems they've had recovering from the Kaizad thing, and I don't know if we'll ask him. I don't know if we need to ask him that again. I think I
think we've covered that.
They've got a lot more work to do still. They'll tell you that, but they've worked hard. I mean, they've really worked hard with that, and you don't hear people bashing that anymore. I think they got rid of the problem. So I don't know when the company, if it's going to get sold though. That's the one thing I think it'll have.
At the end of the day, when we were talking about accountability, they came out and they said, we're accountable and we're going to make some changes.
And Juan was calling out the owner of the company on my show, on our show. So, that can't be an easy thing to do. But I believe, I know Juan, he's a good guy. I've known him a long time. I remember when he first got the job there and everything. So he's a and the guy knows sales. Did
he work elsewhere before that in the industry?
Rocky, he worked for, I think, for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done a great job.
He was our Charlotte rep for a short time, I think, while we didn't have a rep. And then Steve Cook came in, who's one of the best reps in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And, Gurkha keeps a lot of their employees for a long time, too. They have a good...
Seems like it.
They do. They have, you don't see reps... Occasionally someone will leave, but they don't bounce around for 4 or 5 different companies. Willie, I think, just went back to La Aurora, but I think there was some special circumstances with that.
It sounded like, Willie was great with them, and they really liked him, but he got an offer to go back to La Aurora, and it's not like he was let go or left on bad terms.
They were going into a different model at the time, and there wasn't a role for him.
Yeah.
So then he went to Tarazona, which we'll just leave that, and then he goes to Gurkha, and So I think it was I'm glad for Willie. But I think, like I said, I think that was a very unique circumstance because they're rebuilding up their U.S. distribution. They're actually building their U.S. distribution right now. So it was a unique thing for Willie to go back, I think.
And did I hear that Willie is going to be kind of overseeing that?
No, he's not. They do have a national sales manager.
Okay.
But he's probably going to have a more senior role there, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I like Willie a lot. He's a great guy. I've gotten to hang out with him, a handful of times, and trade shows. He's been up here. We've gone to shops together, and I heard the news. I was like, oh, you're not with Gurkha, but he's with La Aurora, and I think he's gonna do good there.
Yeah. No, he knows that brand. He really knows that brand well.
Yeah.
So it's why wouldn't you try to go back there or would have tried to, I'm sure there was some conversations with the two companies as well. It sounds like everything was done. I don't know all the details, but sometimes you gotta be a little careful when stuff like that happens with two companies. So,
like I said, I wish him nothing but the best. Congratulations to Juan and Bianca again on their nuptials. I'm sure we'll hear more information after the wedding.
Oh, I'm sure. Hopefully, there's no photos. I'm sure Juan partied hard after the nuptials.
Yeah. And I'm sure
Yeah.
Bianca gave him the, you know what, it's our wedding night. I'll give you the pass. Just don't hurt yourself.
Don't do anything. You had your fun in Costa Rica, Juan.
But it's no, it's exciting, and like I said, as a couple, I love them a lot. So,
Yep, good people.
good for them. I can't believe I forgot all about that. We were talking about Gergen, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I saw the photo of them. I think I saw something on Facebook. I think it was like their first dance together or something. I saw them, and I was like, oh shit, because she had the dress on, and I was like, oh yeah, it was today.
I think you gotta worry about the other Juan more.
Cancel. Hey, he just broke his leg. He's gotta take it easy.
It's true.
It was a bad break. It looks like he had a bad injury with that too.
Yeah.
We one thing I wanted to say, not that we're really touching on end of the year stuff, but I just wanted to highlight. I think we talk about this Thursday night, but I just wanted to mention we did release our company of the year for United Cigars, and we also announced our person of the year, Hector Alfonso of Espinosa. We do have our factory award to give away, which hasn't been posted yet, but it's done. It's been selected. I was contemplating whether I would just announce it on the show or if I just wait for the publish, but I might just wait for the publish because I don't want to steer too much. I don't want to steer away.
You can wait on it. Yeah, we did ours. So small medium factory here was Tabacco, which is the Casada factory.
Yep.
And this is voted on by the whole team. So we actually published the voting results. Large factory here was my father. That was a landslide win. Small medium company of the year was Espinosa Cigars. That was a tight one. United was very much in contention with that one. Large company of the year was Drew Estate. That was a moderate win over Oliva, who finished second. And person of the year, which was extremely close, was Pete Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
And Pete will be on primetime Thursday night.
Pete's going to be on with us in March, I think. It's usually when he comes on the show, so it'll be exciting to get caught up with him. He had a great year too.
He had a great year, and again, what he did, I think with Veracruz Blue was a big release for him. I don't like dwelling on the limiteds, and the limiteds are never going to push anything over. But what I admired what Pete did is he took cigars like the Cojite, which were single store releases, and he was able to translate those into limited national releases.
Yep.
Which I think is not an easy thing to do. So same, and then the Tuxlas, I think, were a whole new avenue he put on as well. Tuxlas, I think, a brand that is going to be it would layer on top of other brands. So, he's gone heavy into the Mexican wrapper thing. So I thought it was a big year for him. And, the guy, again, you want to talk about a guy who gives back to the industry time and time again. The other thing I didn't mention is, I think what he did this year, and I know it wasn't just him, but putting the hand roll movie out for free. What a give back to the industry. We really should thank those guys for doing that.
Huge.
There's a permanent link on the Coop site for that movie. So anytime you want to go watch that movie on YouTube,
hey guys, just give me. I'm gonna pop out real quick. I'll be right back. But I'm just gonna leave you guys here.
Yeah. So Mitch, I don't know if you've seen the movie yet, but it is a great documentary.
I've seen parts of it. I haven't been able to sit down and watch the whole thing. So many people here. As soon as that went on YouTube, I told everyone in our kind of like local area to watch it, and everyone was like, "Holy cow, that was like amazing!"
Yeah.
Like all of them, really, really enjoyed it. And it's such a cool look into the industry, right? That people don't get to see all the time, even with our interviews, right? It was very in depth.
Yeah. I mean, I remember at the 2018 trade show, we saw the raw copy of it. They actually brought the unfinished one of it. So it was a little rough around the edges. And it just, when they opened up the trade show with it, it sent a positive energy into the trade show. And you've probably heard me say this, Mitchell, a lot. When you have positive energy at the beginning of the trade show, it carries over to the rest of the trade show.
Of course. Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like what we saw last year, right? Lots of positive energy.
Yeah.
But that
movie,
before.
if it didn't make you fall in love with the industry from that screening, so yeah, that will always be there. That link will always be in the sidebar. So if you ever want to go watch it, and you can go search on YouTube. You don't have to click on Coop to do it, but in case you don't want to search on YouTube, and I'd encourage people to watch it again.
Definitely.
It was the best documentary ever done in the cigar industry.
You guys still talk about hand rolled?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean
Is
it's
talking about kind of interview documentaries is I know what's his name? He's working with Illusione right now. He was putting out some videos.
Fred Rui.
Fred Rui. Is his whole series done?
He's got a few more. I think he's delayed them for a few reasons, but yeah, he's got like 3 more installments he's gonna release.
Have they been recorded?
Yeah, they're out there.
Okay.
Yeah, everything was recorded.
Okay.
And are those on YouTube?
Yeah, and if you
The
kind
Final
of
Puff?
search for Final Puff on Coop, you can find them as well. We reposted them as well, but you can just search on Final Puff on YouTube if you don't want to go through Coop. But what's nice about Coop, you can click on the tag and you can see them all. He did some great interviews as well with that. The Carlito interview is fantastic. I mean, they're all great. They have Lito in there. I remember Fred was telling me about this last year at Pro Cigar because he was doing the recording when I was there, and I just said, Fred. I mean, Fred brought a very high professional setup down there, and it was out of his own money to do it. He didn't get it. No one paid him to do this. That's great give back to the industry.
Huge.
And huge. And they're great. They're great interviews. The Abe Flores one maybe also. Abe's very candid. Abe Flores was a great interview. He's very candid. I know Matt's had him on. I've had him on, but that's a good interview as well.
Yeah, Abe's been doing some good stuff. He's a guy that you don't hear a lot about, but he makes a lot of good cigars.
He's a guy. He admitted he made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And self-recognizing that is usually the best way to overcome those mistakes, right? And learning from them.
Yeah, I think when he opened the factory and just started doing stuff for everybody, it hurt. And then the other thing he talked about was, he was bringing in tobaccos, and then he couldn't get the consistency of the tobaccos. So he's now working a lot more with Dominican tobaccos, where he's much more in touch with the tobacco brokers and the farms, where he knows he can get a lot more consistent stuff. So his blends have gotten more Dominican for a reason. And he also wants to support Pro Cigar. So, that's why his blends have changed too. I think he's got to calm down on the packaging changes, though. It's too much. It's like there's been too many of them over the years. So I think he's got to stabilize that piece.
Do we, something I wanted to bring up on the show tonight. Speaking of packaging changes, last year we saw a lot of packaging overhaul with Aganorsa.
Too much. Yeah, they did too much. Yeah.
I
like what they did, but there's too much.
Be that as it may, though. Do we think that this year they kind of, move on from the packaging changes and they kind of start working on their actual blends this year? Because last year I felt like, we saw some stuff from them, but it was more, a lot of it was along the redesign, the repackaging, kind of getting away from the Casa Fernandez name, going to Aganorsa Leaf. Our Leaf is our strength. All that they did. Do we actually see some cigar changes this year?
Yeah, I think I actually saw Terrence in the airport, and he didn't give me any specifics, but it sounds like we're going to see stuff this year.
Because, a couple years ago, cigar-wise, they were hot, and then they kind of got a little quiet. But, they've always been a brand and a factory that I've always really enjoyed, so...
I think I wasn't a fan of Cerberus, though.
Me either.
But they're working with a new tobacco with that. So, working with that 2012 Leaf, and I think...
it's going to take time.
Same with the Rare Leaf. The Rare Leaf was the other one that I wasn't wowed by.
That's very Criollo based, what they did with that one. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that one either. But I still think the Aniversario Corojo is their best cigar they've done. It made the Coop list again this year. 4 sizes have made it over the years, so it's a great cigar. So I think the core line's good. That Connecticut's, that's gone through a lot of packaging changes.
Yeah.
That's gone through 3, and but the cigar's the same. I'll tell you that.
Do they still make the Buena Cosecha?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, all-time favorites.
Yep. But I remember when they came out with that, the packaging was atrocious. but they had to get it out for. That was 2018, and they had to get it out for FDA, so they just got it out how they can get it out and figured it out later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
seems like the Casa Fernandez name has pretty much been retired.
Yes.
It went from a company to a brand, and now I think it's retired. Aganorsa is the company and the brand. So.
Actually, Jay commented here. The rare leaf was mediocre at first. After a few months of sitting on the shelf, and with the second run, it dramatically improved. Visit it again, you may be impressed. So I did a smoke it when they first shipped, and I was very disappointed. I smoked it a few months later with Terrence in Miami, and it was better. I didn't love it, but it was way better. Now, I haven't smoked it since then, so, I will probably revisit it, again. Yeah. But, the first time for sure, I told Terrence, I'm like, this is what I tasted on. And he's like, it's interesting. And then he was like, here, let's smoke it again. And I was like, yeah, it's definitely better. Some of the things I picked up that first time, I didn't pick up anymore. And it was better, but still overall, I wasn't like in love with it.
It's a very different cigar than anything in the portfolio because it's so Criollo based.
And I do like Criollo.
I do too, but it is a different cigar. But Criollo for me is very hit or miss as well. So, but I think it's probably their most unique cigar they got. And you either like it or you don't. I wasn't a huge fan of it. But I didn't think it was a dog rocket either.
Any ideas on when Perdomo 30 coming out? I think we'll probably hear that at TPE. I think we'll hear an announcement.
I think we'll hear it sometime. I think after TPE, but before PCA.
You don't think he announces it at TPE?
No, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I think they're in the middle of the factory tours, and I don't think they want to do that.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I forgot about that because that's when they do that.
But Nick gets his release out before the trade. Like he gets these things announced before the trade show. So
yeah, I think he's going to position it like we've said previously in the past. Like people have to be promoting these major things before going into PCA, not like, hey, it's a week before PCA. We're going to have this cigar here. Come to PCA. It's like, well, you should have told us this 2 months before PCA, people.
Oh, yeah, he won't announce that at PCA. He'll have it ready to take orders at PCA.
Exactly.
He'll have it ready before. The orders will be even before that. Because if you look at what he did with Estate, ESVs, and then he did with the 10th anniversary, and then what he did with the Immensos, they were spring releases. They were out. And then, he could focus his whole trade show on sales.
Yeah,
and exactly. I'll tell you, those 30s, I mean, if history is in, with the Perdomo name, I think that's probably going to be. We haven't really gotten into, our PCA stuff yet. It's still early, but I think without a doubt, Coop, Mitchell, you too. I think you guys will agree. I think that Perdomo 30 is going to be one of the highest anticipated cigars for the PCA this year.
So I smoked a blend he did with that wrapper that he was growing when I was down there 3 years ago, and it's out of this world.
And the fact that those cigars, he told us last year, as I'm sure you know, Coop, those cigars are already rolled. They've been aging this whole time.
Yeah, but I think he's probably fine with aging them too. So I think he knows what he's doing. I mean, he knows what he's doing when it comes to that stuff. So I think he probably, in a lot of ways, if it wasn't ready, maybe it was ready, but age ain't gonna hurt it. I think otherwise he would have released it.
I don't know where I heard this from, but I thought I heard that he said it was the packaging. There was some packaging issues
it was big with the packaging. Yeah,
he didn't feel the distribution was going to be there for what Perdomo can distribute in terms of moving volume, and it just wasn't going to be accessible enough to everyone based off packaging, not based off cigar. Yeah. They got the tobacco, they got the rolling, yeah.
Merchandising is a big part of what Perdomo does. When you go on a factory, they do a merchandising seminar, and it's eye-opening to just say that. So if he can't merchandise that thing the right way, he's not going to do it, and I understand why. And by the way, you look at what Perdomo's done with packaging over it. They've revamped that packaging, and all of it has been stellar.
I think overall it was a nice move as well, just to let the new whatever the 10th anniversary Maduro and Sungrown kind of breathe a bit, give them more than just a year. It kind of gave it a year or two, and I still see people smoking that 10th Maduro all the time. It got great accolades when it came out, and I think it gave it room to breathe and gain
It could
legs
be,
and
it could be the most impactful brand of the decade already.
yeah.
It's been a
Yeah.
monster. I mean, it's been a monster, that thing.
Jay commented here and says, Perdomo 30, Tatuaje 20, Fuente Padron collab. Which hit stores first in 2023?
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm.
Let's do that. I'm gonna say Perdomo 30th goes first. Fuente
I agree.
Padron goes second, and Tatuaje goes third. I think they'll all be 2023 releases.
You think we actually
Despite
see
what
Fuente Padron this year?
Yes, and here's
Yep.
why. And I talked about this morning on KMA. Next year is Padron's 60th. All right. Padron wants to get this done. They don't want. They're not
Padron
going to
have to
want to
get
have
this
this hang. But they don't want this hanging. They want to really focus on, I think, next year being the 60th.
That's true. That's a
Yeah.
big one. That's a big one.
I mean, let's just. I think, and from what I'm hearing, this thing is close. Abe and I have a big bet on this, by the way, and we just doubled down on the bet. And I'm holding firm. I don't have any inside information. Okay. But they're already going to debut this at the Big Smoke in Miami. And I think they'll have this done between the two Big Smokes. I don't think it will be something done at PCA. I think it will either be done before it or after it. But it will be this year. I don't think they're going to focus PCA on it again this year. I think there's going to be other things they want to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. Perdomo 30th, then Padron, and then Tatuaje probably later in the year.
Yeah. I think Pete will get it out before the end of the year, though.
Yeah.
That's a big question. I'm going to talk to him on Thursday.
What do we I mean, we already kind of know what to expect from Perdomo with the 30th, and we kind of have a little bit of an idea with the Fuente Padron, but we haven't really talked about Tatuaje 20. What do we anticipate for that release?
He's gonna go
What rapper?
back to Brown. He's gonna go back to Brown Label and do something based on Brown Label, I believe, because that's the thing that started it all for him.
Right. Go back to your roots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he'll do. He didn't really do that with the 15 though. He kind of did the 15. He really didn't do that, but he did that with the 10s. I remember.
Do we think he does that? The thing he's been doing lately, with a lot of his releases, is doing the 3 separate Habano, Capa Especial, Sumatra, and the Broadleaf Reserva.
I actually wonder that, and I wonder if he does one for the PCA, one for the TAA, and one for everyone else. With the 10s, I remember when he did the 10s, he gave one to the TAA. He gave one size to that Grand Chasseur size, which was unbelievable. So I think he's going to do something, and that's what that's my gut, and maybe he throws a Tuxler in there too, for kicks. But I believe he'll take care. I believe there'll be something with the PCA for sure, probably the TA. But I believe he'll do. This will definitely be a PCA exclusive around that.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be how he's been doing a lot of his releases, especially his special releases.
Yeah.
So I would expect him to continue that theme with the 20th anniversary.
Does he go with that Britannica size? You know, he seems to really like that. Make it a special size.
Maybe for the 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be special.
Yep.
The
he's really into this 20th. This is important to him too.
It should be. I mean, 20 is a long time. I mean, and everything he's been able to do in that time, for sure. Who else? You know, since we're already on this topic, who else is due for an anniversary release in the next couple of years?
Herrera Esteli this year. Liga Privada 15 is this year. Herrera Esteli's 10. But I believe me, when I was down in Nicaragua, I tried to pump Jack on the Liga stuff, right? Liga 15, and he didn't say anything to me. He did say though, big year for Liga is what he said. So
I hope that it also means big year that they're starting to produce more of it, because that seems to be their biggest thing. You know, last year they announced Liga 10 and the H99 are going to be.
I didn't even know they had an Anniversario Robusto.
Yeah, that came out last year.
They didn't really promote that.
They announced that. They announced it.
Never got press release on it. I went through every press release and never got it, and didn't see it on all the websites.
I felt like I did. Maybe I didn't.
The Corolla, they did the H99 Robusto. They did.
They did,
Yep.
and the
I remember seeing that
Lancero.
one.
Oh, that Lancero is fantastic. For me
Mm.
to say that in the H99, and I'm not an H99 fan. Like Dojo was asking me, look, why didn't it make the list? I said scored an 89.
Oh, they
but
were hard on you on that one. They were just like, "Oh, Coop, oh my
it's
god."
not. They go, why didn't it make yours? I go, it's not that good.
I really liked it.
But the finish gauge was great. It's just that's an event only cigar, so it's not gonna make it. So, but I have that cigar actually. I'm gonna be reviewing that in probably March or April.
Yeah, I mean, when you say, big year for Liga, I'm going to assume a Liga 15 gets announced. I'm going to assume, hopefully, there's a little bit more production because I know they talked a lot about it last year. They were, going to be
I
upping
think you're gonna see
production.
those lines. Yeah, I think they'll roll on the foot. But I think they're doing some other stuff with seeds in Connecticut, which is making me believe they're gonna do something with a Liga 15. It'll probably be the same deal again, as the 10.
Yeah, we'll hear about it, but we won't actually be able to get our hands on it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, and it's, there's a lot of demand there. I mean, Liga is one of those lines. It's like Opus and Andalusian
Yep.
Bull, and it's it's special. Like you said before, it's small production, limited production. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Oh, and my father's got their 20th anniversary this year too. Don Pepin Garcia is gonna be
That's
their 20th.
true.
Ooh.
Yep.
That is true.
And- Yep. So you're gonna see that one. I would expect a big Don Pepin release from that one.
Coop, did you get to smoke the 100 años as well as the Flor de las Antillas?
I
10th?
have not smoked the. I just got the Flor de Santiago's 10th, but the 100 años is a front runner for the. It hasn't been reviewed yet, but I'm telling you, it's a front runner for one of my top cigars next year.
I think Jay was talking about.
You need to get those, Matt.
I know. I think Jay was talking about Tatawahi. He said, I expect a series of releases of Brown Label and his 50th this year. Because did Pete turn 50?
Yeah, that one. It's been
Oh
delayed.
yeah, birthday cigar.
It's been
Yeah.
delayed. He turned 50 in like 3 years ago, I think. Pete's birthday is the same birthday as my son Timmy, December 7th, and I'm December 5th. So I never forget
December
Pete's
11th.
birthday. That's right. I do forget your birthday. I'm sorry, but
It's okay.
but I'm bad with birthdays. But only because I know my son's birthday's that day. I forget my wife's birthday. So
That's the worst one to forget. Come on.
yeah.
That's like the
Yeah, I
last
do.
one you can't get,
And you want to know what's even worse? My mom's birthday is the day before my wife's.
Nicole's
March
is so
1st and March
easy.
2nd.
Nicole's is the 4th of July. You can't forget that. You just can't.
Oh, that's in it. You can't. That's in it.
No, you can't.
Oh,
the,
my
so-
God.
Yeah. So it's so yeah. But I agree with Jay. It's gonna be around Brown Label. Brown Label's so important. Brown Label's a foundation for most of the Tatawahi blends. All the Tatawahi blends, I think, were built off variations of the Brown Label to some extent. And that's
Yeah.
I think they all have lineage back to that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but my father, that's gonna be a big one for them.
That's a big one.
And I think it's the 15th anniversary of the My Father brand. So, and it's the 20th of Pepin. So,
This could be the year of anniversary releases.
The anniversary release year.
yeah, we had one a few years ago with the same thing. It was a big story. Well, I'm gonna pull up something while we're talking. I think I have some things on there. The anniversary. While we're talking about that.
Did you light up another Matt? Or
I
you
just finished my Villiger Nicaragua 2022. I liked the first 2/3. The last third kind of changed to a point where I wasn't really happy with it. Not bad overall, not bad. But I think, like what
All
Coop
right,
said, it's
so-
not a 90,
so
but it's
Here's
good.
Here's what I have. You ready? I'm gonna give you some things I have here. Avo 35th.
Yep.
Daniel Marshall has, because I have a list of this. Daniel Marshall 40th. Davidoff is the 55th this year. Don Pepin the 20th. Eric Espinosa is 25 years in the businesses this year. Hoya de Nicaragua's 55th. La Aurora's 120th.
Jeez, that's a long one.
Liga 15. Macanudo's 55. The My Father brand is 15. Nestor Miranda's 80th. Tatuai's 20th. So those are the ones I have on the list for the anniversaries due. So there could be a lot of those this year. I can't see them not doing a Nestor 80th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't
that's
see them
big.
not doing.
That's big.
Maybe Macanudo. Macanudo, I don't think they'll do a 55th. They're not. General's not big on anniversaries. So La Aurora is definitely doing a 120th. And we know Hoya is doing a 55th. They've already kind of said something's coming out with that. So I don't know with Davidoff if they'll do a 55th or not.
I think
It's
they
a
will.
big anniversary. It's a big anniversary. I can see Daniel Marshall doing something this year.
It's a lot. If they all do something, that's a lot. It's a lot of. I think you'll see a lot of anniversary stuff at the end of the year.
I'll say probably Davidoff falls through, and Macanudo falls through. Maybe Espinoza falls through because they got so much going on right now.
And they just released three anniversary cigars, right?
Yeah,
They did a birthday cigar, 2 anniversary cigars, like
They did the Espinoza 10, the Lazona 10, right?
and the guy
the Knuckle 55.
And then the Knuckle. Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
But it's the 25th anniversary of Eric getting into the business. So I haven't asked Hector if there's something. They did an Espinoza 20th in 2018, and they called it the Eric Espinoza 20th. Really good cigar, by the way.
Maybe they wait till 30.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I'm looking at the time. We are past the 2-hour mark.
Yep, I agree.
And I know Coop's had a long day, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here.
Sounds good.
But thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for everyone who's been with us tonight, watching. If you're listening later, thank you for listening along with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and everywhere you can find your podcasts. Yep. And visit smokeandtobacco.com for more news, information, reviews, and updates to our Cigar Family Charitable Foundation raffle. Before we close up, guys, anything you want to say?
Yeah, big week on Coop this week, by the way. So we have our Monday. We're going to be debuting the Duke Box show, covering the halftime show. Tuesday, Carney's supposed to come on our show, so hopefully he's okay and feeling good. But we'll have a football show on Tuesday. Regardless, and then on Thursday, Pete Johnson. So
big week.
Big week.
A big week. And I'm doing. I'm gonna be recording something on Wednesday with my former show, Smooth Drawers Radio. We're gonna be recording a reunion show. So
nice.
With Nick Cirrus. So it's the first time we've done a reunion show in 5 years. So we'll be doing that. So I don't know when it's going to be released. It's a pre-recorded show, so stay tuned. I'm excited about that to kind of get back with some of the folks there. So
nice.
That should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. We got Ram Rodriguez from Artista coming on Wednesday night, and then then Sunday we're doing the halftime show. I guess we're doing it.
It's got to be done. It's a tradition. You guys changed it. Yeah.
I know. Well, so we'll be doing that. So. Kind of a busy week for us, too. Hopefully, Carney's in tip-top shape because he's got some shows to do this week. And, we'll go from there. But, guys, thank you for being here. And thank you for everyone who's listening or watching at home. And we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Have a great night, everyone.